The Fan is live and local with Fan Sports Saturday. The Fan Sports Day of the Week. Oh, this is some clever branding. Here's your host, Place Name Here.
Welcome to your summer, kids. I think spring got rained out. Happy Memorial Day weekend. So honored that you would make us just a little part of it, whether you're traveling for vacation, whether you're heading out to play some golf. I know the city I reside in, Grandview Heights, is doing their Memorial Day parade this morning, so hopefully everybody's having an enjoyable, wonderful start to the opening of your summer.
Yeah.
Eric Reeser, Tim May, Colbar Teamez pushing the buttons. You heard Jacob Reimer there in the update. Guardians are the hottest team in baseball. It's fine, whatever. No business beating the Tigers the way they have the past two games. That's about as much baseball as we'll get to for this program. We're on for the next 3 hours.
Thank you, Lord.
Is when we're going to get off the air.
Thank you, Lord.
I think I can say this before we have our guest at 10:30. Michael Shank, the founder of Meyer Shank Racing, will join us from Indianapolis. They'll do the 109th running of the Indy 500 tomorrow at about 12:45. Gentlemen, start your engines. Would it be? I was thinking at 10:17, the segment would be I ask you questions I can't ask Mike.
Yeah.
And
that sounds good.
One of them was going to be, because there's some scuttlebutt that's happened this week in the world of IndyCar racing, to ask him what's the best way you've tried to cheat to win a race. I can't ask him that, but I could ask you.
Yeah.
What's the funniest way you've had somebody try to cheat to win a race? And then if I called it a niche sporting event, the Indy 500, would he punch me through the phone? Well,
you know, it's fairly hard to. By the way, this is Tim May. I'm glad to be here, Eric.
How are you?
I'm good, man. It's fairly hard to cheat at Indianapolis. And most of the time, I mean, get away with it. I mean, the biggest thing you can think of is like in the day when they had pop-off valves for the boost, for the turbo boost. It would only allow so much turbo boost into the engine until it would like pop off, you know, and kept everybody legal and kept speeds under control. But you know, there were famous situations where maybe AJ Foyt mistakenly left a bolt. Or one of his crew left a bolt sticking in the pop-off valve, which caused it not to pop, you know, things like that. You know, it's really hard to cheat in that kind of racing. Of course, NASCAR is rife with all you got to do is watch Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s show where every other week he's got somebody else on saying how they cheated, how they made the gas tank, were able to expand the gas tank without anybody knowing, or were able to put in a fuel line from the gas tank to the engine, which held another extra gallon and a half or 2 gallons of fuel, you know, because running out of fuel or saving fuel is been part and parcel to racing since it started. But there are all kinds of ways, you know, from a weight situation. NASCAR lended itself more to that because you're driving basically a sedan, you know, and IndyCar, it's open wheel. The car's half naked. So there's most things you can't hide.
I mean, ever since you've had sport, you've had people to try to find angles.
Like, for example, Mike Shank.
To get an advantage.
Yeah, Mike Shank, you know, for example, his prototype team, what was that, 2 years ago at Daytona, won the pole for that race and then won the race. And the Daytona 24-hour race. And they were found to have run tires that were not inflated to the minimum amount required, which allowed you in qualifying to, in essence, warm up the tires faster. And that's you know, I know you've heard that line, but I mean about grip, you know, tire grip. And they didn't have to forfeit anything, but they did get fined. And they took a hiatus actually from prototype racing last year because of it. They're back now and stuff. But I mean, whether you do something on purpose or not isn't really the point. The point is, did it happen?
Sure.
Yes, and then you get penalized. And
so
we'll get into all that in the next segment about the whole thing with Penske, the Penske team, and for the second straight year being admonished and now heads rolled after this one.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, have a guy I've known for like 30, 35 years, Tim Cindric. I would call myself a friend of him. I mean, he was with Ray Hall Letterman Racing when it was in Hilliard when it first started way back in 1992. It was one of the hires that Bobby Rahal made, and is the son-in-law of the Truman family, Jim Truman, who started Red Roof Inns, owned Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and started True Sports, which won the 1986 Indy 500 with Bobby Rahal. But, I've known him for a long time. Everybody's always trying to get the edge.
Yep. It's a universal thing in sport.
But with cars that are, in essence, spec cars now, spec means you literally buy them from the factory and you can't do much to them. That's the same way in NASCAR now.
It is the Super Bowl of the sport, I think it's safe to say.
It's hard to find. The thing is, you're not allowed to take a car and make, as some people accused, I think the Wood Brothers or somebody, of building a car 7/8 the size of a regular car. Way back when. It still looked the same, but, this is way back. This is NASCAR. You can't do that kind of stuff anymore.
So Indy 500 is going on tomorrow. Shenanigantry abounds. Monaco, the F1 race, is tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then the Coca-Cola 600, I believe, is tomorrow evening. So it's a big race weekend. Would this be fair to say Memorial Day weekend, Tim May's favorite weekend?
Yes. Well, number one, I'm NASCAR, I can take it or leave it, be honest with you. I do appreciate it, but I can take it or leave it. But open wheel is what I've always enjoyed ever since I was a little kid growing up, first in Alabama and then Texas. I mean, I thought Indianapolis was, are you kidding me? They really do this. And, the first laps I ever took around Indianapolis Motor Speedway was in a Volkswagen bus in 1964. We were on our way to Wisconsin from Alabama. On a vacation, a work vacation, because my dad was working, but we were playing. Matter of fact, it's for the first trip I ever saw in a Major League Baseball game, the Milwaukee Braves versus the Houston Colt 45s. That's another story also.
Wait, you took the van around the track?
No,
they took the van to the track.
They took you in a van of Volkswagen. It was the original minivan. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but you can look it on Hippieville. A lot of hippies.
Hippieville's a website?
Yeah, a lot of hippies turned those out, back in the late 60s, early 70s. But it was a Volkswagen van, and they took you around at about 55 miles an hour. And then Chuck Yeager took me on a couple of laps there a long time ago, and in the pace car, one of the pace cars, and all that kind of stuff. But it's just we'll talk about it in a minute. But you almost have to be there to really appreciate what Indianapolis is all about. And the Indy 500, like any other race, like the World 600, as you just referred to, all races get boring at some point when they're over 200 miles. Guys do get in line. Guys do try to save fuel, et cetera. But the beginning, the middle, and the ends of the Indy 500, the last, couple of decades have been stirring. And matter of fact, the last 3.5-4 decades have been great. They haven't been follow the leader. They've been guys trying to pass, all this kind of stuff. But it's the pre-race things that go on there, celebrating Memorial Day.
The spectacle of it.
Yeah, the Purdue marching band comes down with their big... They
have the drum?
And then you have the parade of the past winter cars that they drive around, which is cool as heck, including Ray Haroon's car, the first winter of it, and 1911, and then the flyover back home again in Indiana, TAPS. They honor so many military personnel there that come marching in and stuff. They also, on Military Day, they swear in, or take the oath. New military.
That's a cool thing to see.
So it's like the pre-race there is unprecedented. No one else comes close to that in any sport. The drama that it builds for drivers, start your engine.
And then the post-race, the bricks, the milk, all of that with the winner of the Indianapolis 500.
By the way, the winner.
Huge thing.
By the way, they talk about the tradition of the milk, but you know what the first guy who drank it drank?
I'm guessing Gatorade or some electrolyte drink.
Worse, buttermilk.
That's a choice.
Yeah, but it was ice cold buttermilk. And then Emerson Fittipaldi tried to get him to give him they did do it, a jar of his company's orange juice, which was a big flop.
Yeah, if you're in Indiana, you're probably trying to find an Indiana cow to give you Indiana milk. So you're drinking at the Motor Speedway.
Everything gets sponsored out the wazoo.
Keep it in the Midwest. The eyes really of the sporting world will be on Indianapolis this weekend, as you've got the Indiana Pacers taking a 2-0 lead on the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Somebody by the name of Pascal Siakam had 39 points for the Pacers in Game 2. They beat the Knicks 114-109 at Madison Square Garden. They're going to be hosting Game 3 tomorrow night at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Did you watch that game? Did you watch the game?
Game 2?
Yeah,
I did. And I felt... I went into Game 2 wanting to laugh as much as I humanly possibly could at Knicks fans, but then we get into the third quarter, and Indiana's starting to pull away, and I felt I felt the pain of Knicks fans having recently been in that position as a Cavs fan.
Yeah,
the helplessness that Pacers team can put on you.
Yeah, but no one's more bandwagon than Knicks fans, man. They finally have a team. I mean, I know they showed whatever, blah blah blah, but I think they showed their true colors the last 2 games because you got there, you got a shot, and you blow it both times. It's I don't know how you come back from that, to be honest with you.
I don't either, especially when
those are blows to the solar plexus.
Game 3 and 4 will be in Indiana. It feels like Tyrese Halliburton's dad's going to be allowed back for those 2 games. Maybe you get the gentleman's sweep where you're able to send the series back to New York, and then they close things out, the Pacers do. But I was saying this with Bo, with Baker, before the series against the Cavaliers. The Pacers, when they're making shots like that, they're beating everybody. Yeah. And it does feel to set up a decent basketball game, a basketball series between the Pacers and the Thunder in the NBA Finals. Yeah. I don't know the watchability of that from a national perspective.
Who cares? If you play, if you're the 2 best teams.
I agree with you.
I mean, look at the Knicks and the Pacers to get to this series, who they beat. Yeah. You know? I mean, I think they're legit as heck, and I'm going to watch it because I think this is when I watch NBA. I don't watch NBA middle of the season, but this is when you watch it because they are playing at a different level. It's funny what you said though about they can, when they score, they can beat anybody. Well, that kind of it's kind of like saying the sun is hot. No,
I guess I meant from
the Pacers are hot
from perimeter.
I know
when they make those shots from anywhere on the court. When Tyrese Halliburton drives in, comes back out, his coach doesn't call a timeout, and he shoots a shot at the buzzer, you're not beating that. Yeah. But yes, the team with the most points generally does win every sporting event. Team USA right now is up on Sweden 4-0 in the semifinals of the World Hockey Championships. So Zach Werenski's club. Team Canada got eliminated earlier in the week. That was Dean Evison with Adam Fantilli. And so if United States is able to hold on in this, they'll play either Sweden or Denmark in the World Championships. So a weekend great for America, for American sporting events. We obviously have that Indianapolis 500 that we waxed on about a couple minutes in this segment. Again, the founder of Meyer Shank Racing, Mike Shank, will join us at 10:30. A couple more questions that I can't ask him, I might ask Tim May coming up next. It's Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
Dude, I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen.
That's just you drinking a big gulp from Speedway.
Exactly. Song of the summer. Here comes the drop. Crisp, fruity flavors like the limited time Mountain Dew Pitch Black. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a summer hit.
I'm not sure you know how songs work.
The convenience stores of Speedway. Hold on. You gotta hear how it ends. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Summer 2025 is bringing something wild to your Columbus Zoo. The all-new North America Trek opens this summer, a reimagined zoo region inspired by your national parks. Get ready to get up close with Mexican wolves, black bears, river otters, bald eagles, and more in breathtaking new habitats. Discover local wildlife and conservation in action like never before. Plan your visit today. Visit columbuszoo.org for details.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Going up. Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up. Going up. But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button. Going down. We've lowered prices. Get one line of 5G data for $40. Period. That's 20% lower. And you get a free Samsung 5G phone when you bring your number. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron, which brand of air conditioner is the most energy efficient?
It's the one that's had its outside coils cleaned correctly.
Well, I can wash those off with a garden hose, right?
No.
Why not?
Humidity mixes with dust and pollen to create a microthin film of sticky paste that gets baked onto those hot outside coils.
And that baked-on stuff keeps my coils from releasing their heat into the atmosphere.
Which means your system has to run longer, which uses a lot more energy and it shortens the life of your air conditioner.
Get Eco.
ECO.
How do I get that baked-on stuff off?
Remove the exterior shroud, then spray the coils from the inside out with a special eco-friendly solvent.
Can I rinse the solvent off with a garden hose?
Yeah, but only from the inside out.
Or I could just pay Eco to do it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco doesn't take shortcuts. We do it the right way every time.
Get Eco professional coil cleaning for just $468.
This is This Date in Reds Baseball with team historian Greg Rhodes.
On this May 24th, back in 2001, the Reds lost to the Chicago Cubs 3-0. John Lieber was the winning pitcher, but what made that game memorable was the score. A goose egg, a shutout. It was the first time the Reds had been shut out in 208 games. The last time the Reds had been held scoreless was in the final game of the 1999 season. The Reds beat by Al Leiter and the Mets 5-0. That was the one-game playoff to decide the wild card that year, and the Reds lost it. But for the next 208 games, the Reds did not suffer another shutout, and that established a National League record. The Reds lose a shutout, but set a record this May 24th, this date in Reds baseball.
This Date in Reds Baseball is brought to you by the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, presented by Dinsmore. Celebrating greatness, preserving history, providing inspiration.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
For your Saturday, we're looking ahead to plenty of sunshine with highs into the upper 60s. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then for tonight, mostly clear and cool. The temperatures dip back into the upper 40s. By Sunday, we'll see more clouds around and the chance for a couple of rain showers, highs into the mid-60s, and then drier conditions and a little bit more sunshine here on Memorial Day with highs right around 70. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Common Man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Eric Reeser, Tim May, Cole Bartimes here for the next 2 hours and change. It's about the length of the final Mission Impossible film, which I saw last night, The Final Reckoning.
Did you like it? Did you like it?
I thought it was really good. It's not going to win any Academy Awards, but it's going to print a ton of money.
Yeah.
Because it's just a popcorn film.
Yeah. But the predicaments Tom Cruise gets in.
His own stunts he does.
And you know he's doing 90% of his own stunts.
It's nuts. He's in his 60s.
And he's 62. I mean, that's remarkable. Whether you like Tom Cruise or not, that's still remarkable. No. And plus, I like him because he's an aviation nut, so and a racing nut.
He's an incredible actor, an incredible adrenaline junkie, and so all of that, like, you appreciate all of the stunts he does, because there's a bit in a submarine that the submarine sunk to the bottom of the ocean, and you can tell that he's submerged in water as they're rolling this submarine, and everything's moving around him, and it's him actually doing all of this.
And then Jaws comes in?
No, you don't see the shark.
Okay.
No, I think they'll do another one because this is going to print a ton of money, and everybody's going to get incredibly rich or richer off of that.
Hey, you know what I did yesterday? I went out to Don Scott Field, which, Ohio State's airport.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia got invited out to talk. The Ohio State's new defensive coordinator got invited out to talk to this group of Ohio State students and their mentors who are building building a what's called an autonomous rescue vehicle, flying vehicle. There's a competition going on internationally, and it's 2 years from now is when they get to the final, or when they get to the point of where they compete. But he was out there because he was in the aviation nut after he saw the first Top Gun. Speaking of Tom Cruise, and wanted to pursue that at one point in his life in college, maybe become a pilot, a Marine Corps pilot, or something of that nature. And then he got hurt in football and kind of like backed off from it. But it's just cool to know that I share a passion with Matt Patricia, because he was there to talk to them about having meetings, getting the most out of people, the most out of groups, leadership rising, all these kind of things. Everybody contributing. Yeah, a lot of. Well, there's always parallels.
Yeah.
Whenever you put a group together with a mission,
right?
Mission Impossible with a mission, but then there always has to be a leader who's really kind of like everybody has to kind of finally work for the same thing, and all these kind of things. So it was very interesting to sit there and listen to Matt Patricia. I'm trying to load the video of it, and I'm having a little bit of trouble. I had a little trouble last night with my home computer, but it was quite interesting. It wasn't something I expected to be doing on a Friday afternoon.
So I did see some video of Patricia talking with Ohio State aerospace students. And the one thing I really enjoy about Patricia is when he talks, and he's excited when he talks with his hands.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of passion. And it's something that I do similarly. When you're just excited about something, and especially when it's your passion, you do a lot of hand gestures, and you talk really fast.
And he
your
doesn't
eyes
scream.
open up. No.
This guy doesn't scream.
But there's like an intensity behind it with his passion. And that's something that I've experienced with you in our years of knowing and working with each other. And I wanted to ask, and I'll get Mike Shank, I want to know how many Indianapolis 500s it's been for him. He's the founder of Meyer Shank Racing. We'll have him on here in about 10 minutes. But for you, Tim May, how many Indianapolis 500s have you been to, and what happened to where you didn't want to go this weekend? Or couldn't go, I should say, this weekend.
Well, didn't go because I could have gone. Matter of fact, I had people texting me from different parties.
I thought you would be doing the show from Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Okay, I should have done that, but you wouldn't be able to hear me.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Actually, you would be able to hear me this time of day. They're having the drivers' meeting probably right about now.
I think they have autograph sessions in the afternoon.
Yeah, I do.
A quieter day, I think.
I set up a table. That's a real quiet time because nobody comes.
Yeah.
For mine. But yeah, since 1985, I've covered all the races, except there's an asterisk, 1996, when they had the split, when IndyCar, or in CART then, and the Indianapolis 500, the Indy Racing League, Jeff George, Mr. George was trying to get, Tony George was trying to get control of the sport because he didn't like the way direction it was going. They split. And that year I covered qualifying. I was there for the Indy 500. I was there the day Scott Brayton died. I had to crash and passed away. God bless his soul. And after he'd won the pole for the Indy 500, but then I covered the first ever U.S. 500 at Michigan International Speedway on the Memorial Day weekend because there were Columbus had two teams in it. Bobby Rahal's team and Tasman Motorsports, led by Steve Horn, were both there. Like 5-6 drivers were involved. So I had to be where the local guys were, But so that's the asterisk. I did not cover that Indy 500, but since 1985 and through last year, and then I keep trying to retire fully, and keep promising my wife, and she don't believe I'll ever do it. But I've had all these people from Indy going, "Where are you?" And all those guys, because you either like it or you don't.
It's a passion,
and I've always liked IndyCar racing, but especially the Indy 500. And it's special every year. Like I was talking about a while ago, the special pre-race ceremonies are like no other in sport, and they really get you going. What I don't like is getting up at 4:30 in the morning to get to my parking spot, in the media parking, which fills up. Suddenly, there's 10 times more media there than there have been all month. But yeah, I got into going, and me and buddies would rent apartments together over there and stay the month or most of the month, and through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and it's really come back. It's a total sellout this year for the first time in a long time. So the crowd's going to be 300,000 plus.
It's nuts. The incredible, the scale and the spectacle of it.
Yes.
I don't think you can truly appreciate unless you're on the ground there.
Right.
Like from television, it can do it only so much.
Right.
Like you do get a sense for the spectacle, but just the scope and scale of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, what you said of just where the parking, how you get into the event, how you get to the venue.
My big line about that is these people, to understand this passion, these people have got to want to be there to deal with all of that. Well, I'm walking down, but I miss I'll miss the pre-race where you're on the pit lane there on the main straightaway where they're lining up the cars and all these people are walking through there. And many years ago, I'm walking through there and I'm looking at a car and I bump right into this guy and look up at his Ray Liotta, and his eyes are staring at me. You kind of got eyes like Ray Liotta, by the way. I don't know if everybody told you that. And I go, excuse me. I said, excuse me. And he goes, no, excuse me. He didn't throw me in the trunk, and take me out to north of New York City.
So for some local importance, Graham Rahal's in the, what do you call the 28th spot?
Bad. Not good.
That's where he's starting tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Because once again, for several years now, they haven't been able to get his car. Rahal Letterman Lanigan's not been able to get his car up to speed, competitive speed for the front, the front edge of the grid, the top 12 for sure. And he's dealt with it many times. He thought he had a pretty decent race car, and then yesterday the engine, something popped in the powertrain. Let's put it that way. And he only got a few minutes of practice, the final day of practice. So Takuma Sato, his teammate, who's basically starting on the front row, in the middle of the front row, right next to the rookie, Robert Schwartzman on the pole, first rookie on the pole since 1983, Teo Fabi. But Takuma Sato's engine also, something went sour on it. So it'll be interesting. They'll both have new power plants. But, it's interesting because, this field is flip-flopped based on the Penske situation of the guy who probably could have won the pole, Scott McLaughlin, crashing on qualifying day, pole day, let's put it that way. And then, of course, the two Penske cars with the against the rules smoothing of the attenuator attachment to the gearbox on the back of the car. You didn't compromise the attenuator or anything, but you're not allowed to do that. And even though they probably raced like that all year last year. Matter of fact, Joseph Newgarden's car, winning car from last year's race when he won his second straight Indy 500, had the same kind of alteration on it.
So Newgarden's back-to-back, but he'll be starting 32nd.
Right.
And then Will Power his teammates at the 33rd and final spot.
Newgarden will be trying to become the first guy ever to win 3 in a row.
What's the lowest or the furthest back a guy has come?
28th.
Okay.
Ray Haroon, the first winner in 1911, came from 28th spot, but it was a crapshoot back then, right? If you were going to get to 500 miles, and then because I think the race took 6 hours, and then Louis Meyer in the mid 30s also came from the 28th spot. Back then, a lot of stuff had to happen.
Yeah.
And now, with pack-ups, if you decide to stay out and risk after the first caution, stay out and kind of pack things, you can find your way back up to the front because these cars are so. The tough thing is these cars are so similar, but still on race day, the better teams have the faster cars.
Our next, Graham Rahal will be in that 28th spot, so you're telling me there's a chance. Our next guest has three guys that'll be racing and starting in better spots tomorrow. We'll talk with Mike Shank. He's the founder of Meyer Shank Racing in 2 minutes at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing, 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with ONE+, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Bundle Deal Days at AutoZone. Well, I do need a bundle of things. When you bundle, you save. Do I save if I bundle oil with an oil filter? Save up to $12 on that bundle. What about brake pads and rotors? Bundle those and the brake pads are free. Can't save more than free. You can save on hundreds of deals during Bundle Deal Days. Ends June 2nd at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Duralast brake pads only.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Don't miss the Reds going against the Diamondbacks June 6th through the 8th in a 3-game series at GABP. Enjoy another post-game fireworks show on Friday, presented by PNC. Come back on Saturday when fans in attendance receive a Tyler Stevenson City Connect bobblehead thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare while supplies last. Wrap up the weekend Sunday with family and friends and some afternoon baseball. Get your tickets now at reds.com/tickets.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
All right, we are efforting Mike Shank. He's the founder of Meyer Shank Racing. He's got 3 drivers in tomorrow's Indy 500, the 109th running of that event. Marcus Armstrong, Helio Castroneves, and then Felix Rosenquist. Did I say that? Did I pronounce that properly?
You did pronounce it properly. He's probably got the best chance of the 3 to win the race.
His car, and so I knowing we were going to have Mike on, I did as much research as I possibly could over the past couple of days, and Marcus Armstrong's driving a Sirius XM car.
Yeah.
He's got Creed, who's on tour this summer, sponsoring part of that car.
Oh, yeah, that's part
so
of
I
it.
guess I'm rooting for Marcus Armstrong as a fan of
the
Creed.
Meyer in Meyer Shank Racing was Jim Meyer, who used to run Sirius XM.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating, this brings so many different people together, the Indianapolis 500, in the same place, the same time, every single year. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to call it a niche sporting event, but
no,
this is IndyCar's Super Bowl.
Yes.
But there's so many other races that happen throughout a season, similarly with F1. But Monaco, it's kind of what you think of if you're a casual F1 follower.
Here's the thing about Monaco. In Monaco, they try to put it in the same level as the Indianapolis 500 because it's that weekend.
On the same day, yeah.
Monaco, if Monaco officials approached Formula One right now, so we want to run a race on this track that they put together every year, F1 would laugh at them like, no way, because it is a it's intriguing, but it's a follow the leader, very narrow racetrack, and whereas the Indianapolis 500, have been quite a few F1 guys of either back in the day. Like Mario Andretti tried to do that double, a couple times and stuff because of when he was in F1 and won a world championship. But, Nigel Mansell came over and almost won the Indy 500, in 1993 or 94, his first year. And right on down the line, they aspire to at least have a shot at the Indy 500 at one point in their life, like Fernando Alonso.
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson's a great example. He's trying to do the double again like he did last year. That's just a monumental task, just starting both of those races, much less having a shot at winning either one of them.
To get to the starting point, so the Coca-Cola World 600 is Sunday at 6 o'clock. Indy 500 starts tomorrow at 12:45.
Yeah, weather permitting. It's always weather permitting.
That's it with everything.
And that's with Kyle Larson last year. He was crazy because the start of the Indy 500 was delayed. And I think he got to Charlotte late and ended up getting, in that race. I don't think he started the race. But the point is, so many things have to go right. And almost the worst thing that can happen to you is if you win the Indy 500, because They want you to stay around.
You got to go. You've got to get out of the speedway. You've got to hop on probably a private jet. That's got to take you to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then you've got to
jump on a helicopter, which takes you to the airport, which takes you...
Airport goes to another airport. Helicopter drops you off to your car. Logistically...
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's an incredible
But it's cool
feat.
as heck. And if there's a guy that's come along that really could do this, it is Kyle Larson. Because that guy could drive an elephant, could drive an elephant in a Kentucky Derby. I mean, he's that kind of driver. He's just, I think the hardest part is just the mental strain it puts on a driver. Just think about driving 500 miles just to go from here to
your Toyota Corolla,
Kansas City. Yeah. I mean, just think about that. But then doing it in 3 hours and then jumping in a plane and flying down somewhere else and doing 600 miles, which is really kind of over the top. I've never understood. They just wanted to be bigger than the Indy 500 when they first came up with the World 600. And
so they just did 100 more miles.
So they just did 100 more miles
to spite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on a 1.5 mile track. Which it's got to make you dizzy if nothing else. But it's always been intriguing that they put the World 600 down south. A lot of people do that as the same thing as the Indy 500. No, the Indy 500 is a standalone, are you kidding me, event. The largest crowd every year, the largest single-day sporting event crowd in the world. And if you've ever been there, you can feel it, man. The Indy 500 empty, that's track empty, and then full are two totally different animals.
I wanted to ask, and I will ask Mike when we get him on, what does IndyCar need to do to put themselves into an F1 position in terms of marketing, in terms of having more eyeballs on their other events outside of the marquee thing of Indianapolis 500?
Well, they've tried, to go to Europe a few times with a couple of races way back when. They've tried, the most international they are really now. I mean, they raced in Australia at least once a year, Brazil. But really, you got to know your niche. And your niche is the United States of America for the most part for IndyCar. F1 has benefited greatly from that Netflix thing,
Drive to Survive.
Half the people who've been in those Netflix things will tell you it's more fiction than fact, the way they dramatize some of the things.
Dramatize it up for the eyeballs, certainly.
Oh, yeah, they dramatize it a lot. It's extremely well done.
Yep.
People like entertainment, but then you go to an F1 race, and let's say you're standing down there by Treasure Island or what are the two by the Sphere, but then in that corner, and you see a car come through there. Wow, he went through there fast, and then and here comes another one. Wow, he went through there fast. And about the 18th lap, you kind of go, I paid how much for these tickets?
It does feel with the Vegas event and with the Miami event for F1.
Well, here's the thing, though, about F1. F1 understands United States of America. It's all about pomp and circumstance.
It's a party. Yep.
Exactly. And they used to have no races for a while in the United States. Now they have 3. And, with Austin, the Circuit of the Americas right outside Austin, I think it's a really nice track they built down there at Miami. It's kind of grown on me how fast it is around the Dolphin Stadium down there, and then of course Vegas. What a show! And so they've marketed themselves and spent money doing it. IndyCar, a lot of times IndyCar has not been out front from a marketing standpoint. They benefited greatly this year from Fox Networks suddenly involved with it, but we'll see where that goes. I think you ought to just take care of your own business, not worry about we're going to supplant.
Sure. You're not trying to necessarily be F1.
Dude, if you'd been at the Indy 500, though, even the build up to it, qualifying day was 200,000 people a couple of times in the 80s and in the early 90s when Nigel Mansell, like I said, showed up. And I mean, in the early 90s, it was crazy. I mean, Mid-Ohio probably had 70,000, 80,000 people for its race. I mean, everything comes and goes. Everything runs in cycles. Daytona 500 doesn't even use grandstands they used to use back in the day.
It's bonkers to think in the last 20 years how that event has fluctuated in its popularity.
But they always do. Everything fluctuates.
It would be the Super Bowl of NASCAR, and now it's there, but you don't think of it nearly as much anymore. I did want to ask you real quick, and again, we're going to try to effort Mike Shank, the founder of Meyer Shank Racing, but it's a busy weekend for him, obviously. We're 24 hours out.
You might not hear his phone
from
ringing.
the Indianapolis 500. He's got 3 drivers that are going tomorrow, 3 guys in great position to compete for most of that event. The Columbus
500?
Was it the Columbus 500?
Yeah, Columbus Ford Dealers 500.
Mid-'80s?
Yeah, and that was
Could they bring that back?
That was a prototype. That was an IMSA race.
What's the
International
difference?
Motorsports Association. Well, prototype is basically prototypes and also GT cars or cars that are purpose-built. The prototypes are like a sports car. But they have, the only difference is they have wheel fenders.
But when you say prototype
when you
compared
think
to
when you think
IndyCar.
of like Le Mans, if you think about the cars that raced at Le Mans, that's similar to the cars that raced in the Columbus 500 way back when. And it was cool because that was at the zenith of that series also, and they had some big names raced in Columbus. And one of the great drivers and team owners got killed in a plane crash leaving that race. Al Hobart from Pennsylvania died in his plane crash at Don Scott Field, leaving from here 1 year. But it was a great event for a while, but it ran its course. Pardon the pun. But it was started by Jim Truman, was the big driving force behind it, and brought in. They ran through the streets. They did a hairpin turn at their springed along, and it was kind of cool.
Because when you do see, in Miami, like you're talking about around Dolphin Stadium or Hard Rock Stadium, whatever they're calling it now, to have that little stretch between Lower.com Field up to Nationwide.
Right.
Be kind of cool to see some motor cars go up and down.
Yeah, there are all kinds of, I've been in all kinds of cities where you go, man, you could make a really nice racetrack here.
Right.
But now with the logistics of having a street race, ask the people in Las Vegas, there are people still suing because, Batista's backstage door tavern, all on down the line where people can't get to their restaurants,
right,
et cetera. So you have to appease a tremendous amount of people. But the idea then, and IndyCar was at the forefront of taking the races to the people, which means, okay, they don't want to come all the way to Podunk, let's say mid-Ohio, because believe me, it's out in the middle of nowhere, and to be there, you got to want to be there. We'll just take the races to them.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to come see us, they'll still hear us.
They'll have to hear us.
Yeah.
It really is. Appeasement's the name of the game. What the College Football Playoff Committee is doing is trying to appease everybody. But
there's a segue.
Will that work? We'll discuss next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
How about this? You need auto insurance. You could A, pick AAA to find the best coverage for you, or B, spend so much time researching insurance jargon that you might as well have gotten a law degree.
Yeah, I'm going with A.
Right. Okay, you're booking a vacation. You can A, have AAA plan it for you, or B, stress so hard about layovers and getting to your cruise that you need a vacation from booking your vacation.
That's easy. A, AAA.
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
Patients everywhere are experiencing joint pain relief thanks to QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. So how does this non-surgical approach work? QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Aaron Wolkoff explains.
It's like when you get a paper cut and the cells that come onto that scene first stop the bleeding, and then it recruits more cells to form new skin and new soft tissue. And then you look down a week later, 2 weeks later, and it's like nothing happened and that paper cut never existed.
In this same way, QC Kinetics uses your natural biologics to help repair repair and restore aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
We take those same similar cells in different areas that are arthritic, are painful, and we cause this kind of internal self-healing that can resolve patients' pain.
Relief without surgery. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
Call QC Kinetics 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Dude, I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen.
That's just you drinking a big gulp from Speedway.
Exactly. Song of the summer. Here comes the drop. Crisp, fruity flavors like the limited time Mountain Dew Pitch Black. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a summer hit.
I'm not sure you know how songs work.
The convenience stores of Speedway. Hold on. You gotta hear how it ends. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Here's a fresh deal on produce. 18-ounce containers of blueberries and 2-pound containers of strawberries are only $2.99 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Have you ever wanted your tropical vacation to last longer? Of course you have. And now it can, thanks to Oakland Nursery. Bring that tropical paradise to your backyard. Create an island retreat complete with tropical hibiscus, palm trees, mandevilla, gardenias, citrus and banana plants, flowering cannas, and more. The lush exotic greens and vibrant tropical colors that make life more fun, now in your own backyard thanks to Oakland. If you haven't been to Oakland Nursery, you simply haven't been to a nursery.
This summer, something wild is coming to your Columbus Zoo. The all-new North America Trek opens soon. Get closer than ever to Mexican wolves, river otters, and more in stunning new habitats. Experience wildlife and conservation in action. Plan your visit today at columbuszoo.org.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Tim May, and we pulled our next guest from the autograph table. Kind enough to give us some of his time this morning, about 24 hours out from 3 of his drivers competing in the 109th Indianapolis 500. He is the founder of Meyer Shank Racing. Mike Shank joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Mike, good morning. Thanks for the time. How many Indianapolis 500s is this for you, and what's going to happen for you between now and Gentlemen Start Your Engines?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. This is my 7th or 8th that I've done total. You know, we're kind of still a little bit newbies to this, but man, it's great where I'm here. Actually, I was a little late today because we're in the museum and they unleashed the 2020 win kind of set up pavilion for us that we won the race in 2021. So I was over here in the museum today. Place is packed. The race is sold out, 350,000 people plus the infield. It's going to be a crazy, crazy Sunday.
Hey, Mike, Tim May, man. I mean, you know, you and I have seen you. I see you. Used to see you almost every year over there before the race on pit road and stuff. And can you explain to people who've never been there the thrill even a guy like you still gets being there on race morning and the pomp and circumstance, the pre-race ceremony like no others? What does it do for a hardened guy like you?
I mean, it literally makes you more American. You will feel so American after the opening ceremony. I'm telling you, I'm literally standing in the museum, which I highly recommend. Brand new $80 million museum. Yeah. It really shows the history, and that's what this place is about. It's about the history, and the things that have happened down the front straightaway here are legendary, and we're just super grateful to be part of it. For me, growing up in Central Ohio, it was not always Buckeye football or Buckeye sports. It was always for me racing and the Indianapolis 500. So to think that we've won that race one time already and we have a very good shot tomorrow is pretty thrilling and almost unbelievable from a guy from Gahanna.
Hey, by the way, just a quick question before I move on. Have they fixed the attenuator of the 2024 Joseph Newgarden car? Have they fixed that in the museum yet?
I'm going right back downstairs. I'm going to check it out, but I doubt
it. hey, Mike, just real quick. Marcus Armstrong, Felix Rosenquist, Elio Castroneves. Obviously, Felix is starting way up there. Who's got your best shot tomorrow? You'd almost have to say Felix, right? But you never know what's going to happen anymore in these races.
No, you don't. Yeah, absolutely. Felix has consistently been the strongest in the group practicing, and he had the second best 20-lap average yesterday, which you never know because we're all running at different power levels, conserving things. So, but I can tell you he's very calm. He's very determined. Elio was right behind him, though. So Elio seems to be really finding his legs. It's hard to get parachuted in once a year for the biggest race in the world, right?
Yes.
And so it's really difficult. So it takes these 2 weeks to kind of get your head back around it. I just had dinner with him last night. He's ready to make history. And God help us if he does, man. It'll be the biggest party in Central Ohio you ever saw.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, talking to the founder and owner of Meyer Shank Racing, Mike Shank, courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Elio going for a 5th Indianapolis 500 win. And the question that Tim asked you, Mike, is kind of like asking, who's your favorite kid? Like, you love them all equally, but there are some that, a little bit more, I guess, experience in this than others. And obviously, Castroneves going for win number 5 there. Do you have any sort of messaging that you give to these guys or to your teams 24 hours out? Or is everything like, hey, guys, I trust you. You've gotten us to this point. Now let's just kind of enjoy what's the buildup to the biggest race in your calendar year?
On the crew side, I really get together tomorrow morning. We get here at 4 or 5 a.m. I really just talk about details. Like, the details are what either win us or kill us. And it's happened both ways for us this year in the series. So we talk about detail, helping your neighbor. Don't let anyone down. Be supportive of everything that's going on and be very, very aware and alert. That's for the crew. For the drivers, the number one thing is make sure they have their game plan. We don't want to we don't want to do added things that they hadn't thought about. Think about the game plan. Please don't take your teammate out or the other 3 cars in our technical group with Chip Ganassi Racing. Give them a little bit more room. We don't want to have to deal with cameras in our face on that deal. And let's go rip it. Let's go see. We've got great sponsors, and we have Creed. The band Creed is here on Felix's car. The band members are actually here. They're on a huge tour right now along with Sirius XM and Creed. That's great promotion. And we have Spectrum Cable and Cleveland Cliffs. They're our primary sponsors. So we have a lot of people from all those groups here. So we don't want to disappoint anybody. We want to give everybody their money's worth, and I think we're going to.
Yeah, your creed is just win, baby, right?
Can you take me higher?
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, the folks haven't seen it. The camera shot of Mike Shank running to the pit wall and jumping up onto the pit wall as Elio Castroneves passes the winning the finish line in 2021 is choice, and he's got a big, huge mural of it up in his plush race headquarters out in Pataskala. Mike does. Hey, Mike, real quick. I won't spend much time on this, but I do want to ask this. Was the attenuator scandal involving Penske Racing, was it much ado about a very little bit, or how you as a bona fide team owner in the series, how have you taken it and how have you moved on from it?
Yeah, we've had that's a good question, and we've had a tough last week, right? But I can tell you this, the attenuator modification did virtually nothing performance-wise, but that's not the point.
Correct.
The point is it's clear you can't do it, and unfortunately, Roger and Roger's team had a massive problem a year ago. So that's 2 in less than a year and a half, and it's not acceptable. Roger chose to buy the track in the series, and he's done a hell of a job with it, no question, and we support him. But something had to happen, and a lot happened. So from a team owner's perspective, sitting today, I and we, Jim Meyer, are very satisfied, and so are most of the other owners, to be quite honest with you. So the blood has been let. The blood is out. Now we're going forward. So we're going to deliver a huge product tomorrow, all of us. We're going to hopefully have tons of eyeballs on the Fox telecast, which we're all working toward and hoping for. And we're going on with the future here. But we did not need it, no question about it. And there's still those 3 cars are still going to be really quick, those Penske cars. So that's it.
Yeah, real quick, people don't sometimes appreciate things if they don't see them from the inside out. But how proud of you? How proud were you of your team the way it took Marcus Armstrong's car and turned it into Frankenstein after the crash last weekend and still got him in the field? Is it just when you think you've seen everything, you haven't seen it, and you saw your team just rally and get a car back up there? How cool was that?
It's the most amazing thing, the resiliency of these teams in crisis. And we were in serious crisis. And to think that we got back out and did 2 runs at the end of the day was just awesome. Now, listen, Marcus took a big hit. So he needed to get out there and get right back out there and get on the horse again, which we did. I still think he's kind of, recovering from that hit right now, but he's fine to race and he's been cleared. But, when you take a banger like that here at Indianapolis, you don't forget it. And unfortunately, I got to tell you, he was actually quicker than Felix on Fast Friday.
Wow.
Okay. And his car was really fast. So we lost a really good car that we spend tons of time and effort and money in the wind tunnel and that kind of thing. And we lost it. So he's in essentially what is his Detroit car where we go next week. So we continue to tune on it and get it better for him. But, Felix has just been rock solid. And, we just need to have a reliable day for him, and if we do, you will find him in the top 5. I promise you.
Well, Mike, best of luck to you, your team, your 3 drivers tomorrow. 12:45, the green flag waves for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Mike Shank, the founder of Meyer Shank Racing, kind enough to give us some time this morning, the calm before the storm. Mike, again, best of luck to you guys tomorrow. Hopefully everybody has a hell of a time. And actually, one quick question. Do you get to pick the milk?
Yeah, well, the drivers do. The drivers pick the milk, and I think they all picked whole milk, for as far as I know.
Building muscles.
That's it. That's all right, guys. Thank
Best
you so
of luck
much
tomorrow.
for having me.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye-bye.
And he joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. Fan guest hotline again, Mike Shank. He's got those 3 drivers, Marcus Armstrong, Elio Castroneves, and then Felix Rosenquist. On Rosenquist's car is Bonanza Cabernet, which is pretty good wine if you can find it. About $22 a bottle. I'd recommend maybe if, sometime this weekend, you're going to pop in a Creed CD, some Bonanza Cabernet. Enjoy yourself.
And also Texas A&M Aggies are one of his sponsors.
Because they do a lot of stuff. I mean, you see that kind of brand everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the A&M, the Aggie brand. I don't think you'll see Texas A&M in the college football playoff, but they keep adding teams. They might get swings at this. We'll discuss the college football playoff committee and their plans for 2025 next. Sports Saturday on The Fan.
T-Bone and Tyvus are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
When you're on the go, every minute counts. Meyer Home Delivery and Pickup helps you make the most of every second. Get all your weekly shopping done online, quickly and easily, from wherever you are, whenever you want. Have your Meyer order delivered to your home by the service awarded #1 in grocery delivery. Or pick it up yourself while out and about. Whatever works for your schedule. The good life is in reach with Meyer Home Delivery and Pickup. See Meyer.com for details.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay. Moving up payday so you could get your money faster. Up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell air conditioners instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Jacob Reinmer. The Guardians picked up their third win in a row last night, beating the Tigers 3-1. They put two across the plate in the first inning thanks to hits from Jose Ramirez and Carlos Santana. Stephen Kwan had 3 hits and also drove in a run in the ballgame. They go for the series win over Detroit later tonight. The Reds got out on the Cubs early last night, putting up a 3 spot in the first inning and led 6-2 after 5. Things took a turn in the top of the 7th when the Cubs plated 6 in the inning, 3 in the 8th, and 2 in the 9th, giving Friday night's game a final of 13-6. Hunter Green returned from the IL last night, only threw 4 innings, struck out 2, allowed 3 hits, and gave up 2 runs. Cincinnati will look to bounce back later today. And in the NBA playoffs, the Pacers took Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals from the Knicks behind Pascal Siakam's 39 points. Indiana now takes a commanding 2-0 series lead back home for Games 3 and 4. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yes, you are. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Eric Reeser and Tim May with you for the next 2 hours. Boy, it does feel like this is the start of the summer for most people. But I think here locally, the start of the summer happens next weekend.
I've got a jacket on today.
The unofficial one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sweatshirt and pants. And usually it is an ice box in the studio, but it's kind of
That's because you got all those clothes
outside.
on, Boomer Sooner.
Well,
I see your Sooner Schooner on right there.
So it's
your sweatshirt.
This was an accident. If you are watching on the YouTube chat, I have an Oklahoma hoodie on.
Yeah.
And my brother lives in Oklahoma City. So that's about 45 minutes away from Norman. And so the last time I went to visit him, we went to a Thunder Cavs game the night before. Then we went to Norman the next day, and I was looking for sunglasses. I thought it'd be kind of funny to have a pair of OU sunglasses. And I saw this sweatshirt, and it's the only Jumpman logo thing I own.
Yeah.
It was cool
Looks
as hell.
nice.
So that's why I bought it.
Yeah. I came back from Las Vegas, and I bought my wife a hoodie, sweatshirt there. Me and my buddy of mine went out to see the Eagles at the Sphere back in late January, and I wanted to put it on there. My husband went to Las Vegas, and he brought me back this hoodie, although she wears it all the time. I think she does like it.
Then you did a good job.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about myself.
Was the Sphere a bucket list thing for you, or the Eagles more of the bucket list?
Well, I've seen the Eagles before, thanks to my wife, as a matter of fact. In 94, she knew how much I liked them. I'd seen them before that in 70, I think it was the summer of 75, at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas when I was still living in Texas. And then, boy, a lot of time had passed. But I saw when they were, remember when Polaris, you don't remember this.
The Polaris Amphitheater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Polaris used to be an amphitheater, not a mall.
Not Topgolf.
Yeah, not Topgolf, et cetera. And they put on a hell of a show that night, Hell Freezes Over tour. And now, this is the band that will never end, because I think this run out at the Sphere was supposed to end in late, I think middle of January or late January, and then they keep adding dates because people keep buying tickets at ridiculous prices. So why wouldn't you, right? Yeah, it was cool. The Sphere is cool as hell.
So my first concert was at the Polaris Amphitheater. I was 10 or 11, and I saw Aerosmith and Kiss. My dad took me, and it was awesome.
Wow.
So
who's the band that sings "Your Mama's All Right, Your Daddy's All Right"? They just seem a little bit weird. Surrender.
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick. Yeah, they opened for Meatloaf at the.
That's a hell of a show
at Polaris. I think it was Meatloaf. Bat Out of Hell, etc. He's one of my favorites of all. I mean, 4 of his songs are 4 of my favorites of all time. But they were the opening act for Meatloaf, if I remember correctly, at the old Polaris Amphitheater. That was a cool place, though, man. It was. I enjoyed going to concerts here.
Yeah. No.
Anyway,
it was interesting. So 2 weeks ago, I took in Metallica at Mafre Stadium. I guess it's historic Crew Stadium.
Yeah.
And so that used to be a place where the Columbus Crew won a couple MLS Cups and had a lot of history there. And now it's used for concert venues.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how this city has grown and how, things have changed so much over the last 20 years. What's changed so much so over the past 20 months is the state of college football, state of college athletics, really. And
I don't know if it's changed that much if you look back through history in the sense of.
I think the speed in which it's changing.
Speed is more the thing, yeah. The need for speed.
Right. The amount of things and
we're
the time.
We're not satisfied. We've just moved to 12 teams. We're not satisfied. They
just did the 12-teamer.
And, Alabama got left out of the playoffs. Alabama didn't deserve to be in the playoffs last year, for example. They got waxed by Oklahoma.
People forget that.
I mean, and other teams,
it does feel like.
I mean, they won one game last year that mattered, and they think they should be in. Now, the way we're headed, pell-mell. We're headed pell-mell into whatever this future is bringing, and it's crazy times. But go ahead.
Well, you're getting a 16-teamer. You're likely not getting it this year.
You think.
Yeah, it's not happening this year. Yeah. I think you do need unanimity among the Power 4 conferences and the Group of 5, and they're trying to do this thing where everybody's getting a fair shake at this. On the outside. Then when you think that the Big Ten and the SEC are doing not so secret meetings, but doing meetings by themselves in New Orleans and Dallas, and they're not inviting the other people, it's because, they don't have any interest in their actual opinions. They just don't want them to come back and say, this isn't fair, we're taking you to court.
Yeah.
Because I do think everybody can agree the last thing we need are more lawyers in this case.
Well, yeah, but that's what this is.
The lawyers will keep coming.
There are definitely attorneys now majoring in how much money can we get out of what's going on in major college football and major college basketball right now?
A dollar figure on the lawyer fees the NCAA's paid out over the last 10 years?
I have no idea.
Astronomical.
But it's crazy. You could probably finance several major college sports programs, their athletic budgets with the money that's being spent from a legal standpoint. And the House settlement, has it happened?
It's going to keep happening.
Has it happened yet? No. And it was supposed to happen, almost a year ago, because everybody's got vested interest. The problem with major college sports is it's like trying to put a hand grenade back together. They are not one and the same, especially when they explode. They are not one and the same at all. Don't ever confuse Ohio State with Ohio University in terms of finances.
It's not the same. They're not playing the same sport.
They play the same sport. That is the one thing. They do play the same sport.
We'll see in September.
Right, by the same rules. And occasionally in Ohio, you or somebody can jump up and bite you. But, yeah, the powers that be, which are the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference, it's funny because I had a pretty good conversation with the athletic director at Bowling Green a couple of weeks ago when he was in town, Eddie George and Urban Meyer put on a fundraising event for Bowling Green Athletics at Urban's Pine House up in Dublin Bridge Park.
Yep.
And I was talking, and the move right now is everybody knows what's inevitable. The move right now is for everybody other than the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten to get their act together, to amalgamate, for want of another term, and understand, nobody's faking it. Nobody's on that level past really the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference. ACC to a certain extent, Big 12, whoever's in that now to a certain extent, right? But the bottom line is you've got to now strengthen your bonds because it's stupid to chase money just to be in somebody else's party.
Yeah.
And this is definitely the Big Ten Southeastern Conference's party. But you know what's really funny is about how the Southeastern Conference still isn't playing 9 conference games.
Not yet.
It still isn't. It hasn't yet. Until it happens, give me a phone call.
Sure.
I might be in that old senior residence area. They'll take you to my room if you ask for it nicely at the desk. But the bottom line is they haven't gotten together. They haven't gotten that.
Haven't gotten 9 yet.
When you talk about having extra teams or playing 9 games keeps us from having one more patsy on our schedule or having a marquee game. Well, the Big Ten and the SEC should play a complete schedule among their members.
Yeah.
I mean,
play them all.
Yeah, the Big Ten has 18 members as we speak, and you only play 9 of them.
That's so weird.
Unless you meet another team in the conference championship game, which probably is going to go to the wayside eventually. And so it's crazy. You could just play your own conference, and then you meet in the playoffs as who's got the best teams. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt all that, but it's just crazy. The solutions for all this stuff are out there, but it's hard to get 2 schools to agree on something, much less 2 major conferences.
And we'll get to a certain disagreement that has an effect on 2 major college football programs coming up in a couple of minutes. But the one thing that I think most can agree on, because that's where you have to get, right? Most are going to agree that the way you seed these teams was not the best way to do it the past year in the first 12-team college football playoff.
Yeah, I've got another take on that. I mean,
you think that it was the best way to seed?
I've always believed that you should be a conference champion before you get to play for. I mean, this was back in the day.
Yeah.
When they went from 2 to 4, you almost ought to be a conference champion. Or what are we talking about?
Sure.
Because the vast majority of your games are still against conference opponents. If you're not even the best team in your conference, why should you get to play for a national championship?
It's a good question. I think the answer that the College Football Playoff Committee, they wouldn't give you outwardly, but they would tell you, well, we want the biggest brands. We want the teams that we think are the best.
What does that mean?
Money for them.
Ashton Genty was a draw, in my opinion, last year.
There are few and far between Ashton Genty, Scadaboo. Few and far between those players at schools, more so than the big college brands.
Right. But I mean, if you're Alabama, why didn't you? You didn't even come close to sniffing to playing for your conference.
But Tim, you're Alabama.
Big whoopee though. You're Alabama in name, but you're not Alabama in achievement based on what Alabama means.
So what the College Football Playoff Committee is going to do in 2025, the big change that's coming is they're going to rank the teams, and that's going to be how they're seeded in the 12-team CFP, probably the final year of the 12-team, the second year of the 12-team.
Yeah, except, conference champions who are of the top five conference champions will all be in the field. So that means you could still have a team that's 18th or 19th who's a conference champion knock out a team that thinks it ought to be in as one of the top 12. You know what I mean? And you could actually have 2 of those. Based on the way they're talking about the top 5 ranked conference champions will make it no matter if they're 25th.
Mm-hmm. The conference champions are in, but they will, again, be seeded based off of the rankings. So for the example, how that would have looked in 2024, your top seeds would have been Oregon, and then Texas the 2, Georgia, and then Penn State the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ohio State would have had a first-round matchup against Arizona State, and that would have fed into Texas in the quarterfinals.
Right.
It would have avoided Oregon having to play the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee.
Yeah.
There were teams that
play them sometime.
You do. The bye teams, I think, last year are probably thinking, how did we get handed this draw?
Yeah, but they're looking at seeding based on how things ended, not how things looked on December the 1st or the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
conference championship weekend.
Yeah, conference championship weekend. I mean, Oregon drawing Ohio State as its first playoff opponent in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State still had to beat Tennessee to get there.
It's true.
And so right on down the line there, you can always look back in retrospect. Well, I would have done it this way. Bottom line is, once you're in it, you're in it. I don't agree in having buys. I don't believe in buys at all, and especially if they go to this ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous, but after in the Big Ten, after the conference championship game, 3 playing 6 and 4 playing 5. to decide the top four.
Yep.
Who will get the automatic bids if the SEC and the Big Ten hold sway. I'm not sure where I come down on that. That's just adding more jeopardy to football players.
Yeah, that whole thing where you're trying to figure out who's playing games to play for seeding in the college football playoff. Right. That whole thing hurts my head.
Yeah.
As does the idea of Ohio State playing Texas at noon. We'll discuss that coming up next. It's Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen. That's just you drinking a Big Gulp from Speedway. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
When an orthopedic injury or condition gets in the way of life, there is nothing more important than finding a physician you can trust. At Orthopedic One, you'll find Central Ohio's most trusted team of orthopedic experts, ready to listen to your concerns and work with you toward the best possible outcome. In fact, more people trust Orthopedic One than any other practice in Central Ohio. Start with the specialists. Start with orthopedic1.com.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here to help keep you on the road so you can soak up all the summer fun. The road tunes.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hotel pools. Emergency ice cream stops. The sunscreen and bug spray everywhere.
It's in my eyes.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here for it all. So stop in for a quick oil change before you go. Only takes about 15 minutes. No appointment needed.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Summer is officially here, and that means rising temperatures. You're going to be thinking about how you can keep cool all summer long. What's the best plan here? Well, one of the ways you can beat the heat and keep the air conditioning you're paying for in your home is to get Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. And now's a great time to do it. They've got a semi-annual sale where you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows for free. Plus a free entry door when you purchase a whole house full of windows. No money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. It's a deal that can't be beat. You're getting a great deal from Window Nation because they are high-efficiency windows that are also very affordable. They do that by working directly with the top window manufacturers in the country, which means all their windows are assembled right here in the USA. But don't wait on that semi-annual sale. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free. Free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, plus pay nothing until 2027. You've got to schedule your estimate today. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Once again, that number, 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
Save big on everything when you shop at Menards. Own the summer from sun up to sundown with help from Australian Gold. From insect repellent, sunscreen to skincare, Australian Gold has you covered. Save big on all Australian Gold products now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
This summer, something wild is coming to your Columbus Zoo. The all-new North America Trek opens soon. Get closer than ever to Mexican wolves, river otters, and more in stunning new habitats. Experience wildlife and conservation in action. Plan your visit today at columbuszoo.org.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
For your Saturday, we're looking ahead to plenty of sunshine with highs into the upper 60s. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then for tonight, mostly clear and cool. The temperatures dip back into the upper 40s. By Sunday, we'll see more clouds around and the chance for a couple of rain showers, highs into the mid-60s, and then drier conditions and a little bit more sunshine here on Memorial Day with highs right around 70. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Saturday.
It's a 3-day weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. Hangovers, I would say, are encouraged. Tim May, we're 98 days away from Ohio State and Texas at Ohio Stadium on August 30th. Earlier in the month, it was reported that Ohio State's athletic department requested that Week 1 matchup be moved to primetime Sunday, August 31st, either a mid-late afternoon or a primetime kick.
Yeah.
Because when Fox had a press release, it added that it was a big noon kick. Now, it was interesting to me that when Fox did their upfronts, and I think it was Tom Brady and it might have been Aaron Andrews were on stage talking, waxing poetically about all of the wonderful things Fox Sports has to offer. They said, we got Ohio State and Texas, Week 1, and we've got the game. But they just used the Fox Sports branding. They didn't say big noon kick on any of that.
Yeah.
And so it led me to believe that there was some wiggle room, right? Like, we have the game. You think when Fox has a marquee college football game, they're putting it at big noon.
Well, number one, that's what they call their their show.
They invented noon.
Yeah, exactly.
They invented noon kicks in college football.
Exactly.
Fox did.
And I mean,
it stinks.
Yeah. I don't know. I like games played early. That's
personally,
that's my
I do. But when you think of 1 versus 2, Ohio State and Texas, in 2025, it just feels like it should be a night kick.
Yeah, it does, because it's a premier game. Right. I mean, this game is going to...
you talk about the pomp and circumstance with the Indy 500. This will have all of that and maybe more.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
Come on, man.
I'm just talking about the pomp and circumstance, the pregame ceremony, the pre-race ceremonies, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you like what you like, right? But
sure.
But yeah, it'll have a bigger crowd than the TV crowd than the Indy 500. Because a lot of big-time college football games do have that.
Whenever it kicks, whatever time, it's going to have probably one of the bigger television audiences of the season.
Yeah, I think of what's fair for the student-athlete, because there's a good chance on August 30th it could be 80, 95, 100 degrees.
It'll be a hot one.
Yeah. Now down in Texas, they're used to that. I gave the example on Bo's show. You were on yesterday about going down there and spending 3 or 4 days before they played for the first time ever in 2005, which is hard to believe, because Woody Hayes and Darryl Royal were good friends, but they didn't want to play each other because of it, And but anyway, and it was over 100 every day down there. They practiced inside their little bubble, but I don't think super heat is good for anybody. But to think it's going to be super hot, like the Indy 500, I've been over the Indy 500. At start time is 85, 90 degrees. Well, tomorrow's going to be maybe 65. It's a total different race, total different feel to things. So you can't really predict the weather. The main thing you're trying to give an opportunity, if you start a game at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, for more people to plant their fannies in front of their televisions and watch it. And for the crowd to be lubricated, I mean,
properly lubricated for an event of this spectacle.
Because tailgating is one of the great traditions of college athletics, especially on the big time scale. And so you understand all of that, but it's mainly just what this game means at the beginning of a year. Neither one of these teams are going to be anywhere close to how good they're going to be.
They're going to be completely different teams. August 30th to November 30th.
2 new starting quarterbacks, for example, highly rated, but 2 new starting quarterbacks.
But untested.
Yeah.
Really untested.
Yeah, Arch Manning's got a little bit more test than obviously Julian Saban, but not very much more.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they're replacing so many people, both teams are, especially on their defenses. So it's going to be an interesting, but it's not going to be a harbinger of what's to come for either one of these teams in November, but it's still going to be taken out of proportion.
Oh, absolutely. The Monday.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
The Tuesday that we have following that game is going to be overreaction central. And as it always
we're going to talk
feels
about
like
that
it
a little
is.
bit later.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
It always feels like when you have 2 of those marquee programs playing, the resulting Monday is I'm going to freak out about this one way or the other. But there was some talk that Ohio State, Fox, Texas were all trying to figure out a better landing spot for this kick.
Yeah.
And 24/7 Sports had the reporting that Texas said, no, thanks, we're good. We're going to keep it noon Saturday, August 30th. And when I want to say it was Ross Bjork, and he was on, I forget which one of the Ohio State's athletic department is like a fire hydrant. Like when you want something, they're always available, and they've done an incredible job of making that the case.
Yeah.
And Ross especially said that they were going to talk to Fox about that noon kick. I'm like, oh, it's staying at noon.
Yeah.
Just in the back of my head, I mean, like, you're not moving Fox off of their marquee matchup. And I think what this does is now allow Fox to say, well, hey, point your anger at Texas. They didn't want to move it. We were okay with it. It's not a big deal to us.
Yeah.
Be mad at Texas for this.
Well, I mean, but like I explained to Bo yesterday, or not explained, he knows this. I mean, these teams have to get their logistics.
It's a tough ask.
I mean,
for Texas,
getting hotel rooms, for example, in State College, Pennsylvania. Everybody thinks the Big Ten sets up all this stuff for these teams, guarantees where no. I mean, it's a total different exercise and stuff. And if you move a game from noon to 7:30 p.m. on the same day, the logistics pretty much stay the same for the visiting team. But you move it to a different
day altogether,
then all kinds of things change. And then number 2, probably Texas thinks one of their shots is coming in and it being hot.
Getting it hot.
Yeah.
Some like it.
And plus, Texas has that big match with San Jose State.
Both teams have cupcakes.
The next week.
The weeks following this game.
They want to get a head start.
Ohio State's got Grambling and the Ohio University Bobcats. I know, like, Texas has San Jose State and Sam Houston State in like 3 weeks of nothing. Both of these teams
do. It seems like both of these teams could have come up with an idea of flipping it from the opener to the second week. And,
when this game was
based on who they're playing the second week.
I think, Tim, and you'll be able to correct me on this, when the game was signed, it was like 2012.
Yeah. Well,
when this home series was inked to paper.
Yeah. And you still kind of hold your breath that this game's even going to happen.
Well, there's those series against Alabama and Georgia coming up.
Yeah. All these series that have been announced in the off seasons, the last 4 decades I've been covering Ohio State, and they never come to fruition. Are just amazing to me how that comes and goes, how you buy your way out of a contract, or you just say, no, we're not playing right on down the line because we need an extra home game with somebody else or whatever. So it's nuts. But, yeah, 7:30 p.m. would guarantee a huge rating bonanza for Fox, except, then you have the conflict with CBS and NBC about those windows, and the Big Ten Network for that matter. So you can't just willy-nilly change without trading, Who you got? I've got Jerry Dubzinski. I'm going to trade him to you, That was a shortstop for the Indians back in the mid-'80s when I lost my love for football, covering those teams.
You lost your love for baseball?
Baseball, excuse me. Yeah, it felt like football. But you don't just somebody has to give. So I'm thinking Big Noon's going to stick because that's their kickoff. Pardon the pun. I mean, to the season, and it's Ohio State, Texas, who played a hell of a game in the Cotton Bowl In January.
So the semifinal rematch, the time has not been officially announced, but it'll be 24/7 Sports has finalized later this month. So get out your rage accordingly, and then when they announce the time for it, just prepare. Prepare for that to be the big noon kick. Prepare for ESPN will probably be here. Lee Corso will have like his final headgear pick. You put Brutus on first gear. Maybe he's Brutus the last gear that he does.
You've got all this time to get your cold towels,
everything
neck,
you
everything
can
ready.
properly prepare for.
Fans
Ohio
for the
State
fans.
And Texas meet twice in the 2025 college football season. What are the implications from August 30th? We'll discuss that next. Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring into savings at Ohio Mulch. Get your mulch as easy as ever. Save $50 on home delivery now through Sunday. All you got to do is visit ohiomulch.com today.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply.
Our customers are wonderful to work with. They're intelligent. They've done their research. They like what they see, and that, I think, is the biggest reason why they come to us, because they know that they're going to get an excellent window, excellent installation, and excellent service. We're good at what we do.
Visit our showroom today at 4200 Roberts Road.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. Reliable streams of income are crucial for retirees, and Social Security and pensions aren't enough. We can help. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Get Eco.
Aaron, I love that we fix ACs for free.
I don't think we do that, Jerry.
Get Eco.
Stay with me, Aaron. I'm going to explain to you how it works.
You're going to explain to me how my own invention works?
Get Eco.
Step 1. Some other HVAC company tells a customer that they need a whole new system.
Yes.
And then they call us.
They can always call us, Jerry.
Get Eco.
And then we repair their system for free.
No, then they pay us.
But we give the money back, right?
We give them back all the money they paid us to fix their old system when they finally do need a new one.
Up to $1,500, right?
Right.
Aaron, we're fixing HVAC systems for free.
Get Eco.
We extend the life of their system.
That's right.
Those extra years are free. On me.
Get Eco.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Bo Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
We'll get to the ROI for UNC coming up here in a couple of minutes. Just what would the Tar Heels consider a good return on investment with Bill Belichick? Mac Brown had some comments earlier in the week that were pretty eye-opening to me and what the Tar Heels did, and I think points a little bit in the direction of what the Tar Heels did not do when shopping for a brand new head coach.
Due diligence.
But Ohio State and Texas will meet August 30th. It's probably going to be a noon kick. I think the service we can provide to fans is saying it enough, and then we can just be your source of rage, because I get there's a lot of fans out there that aren't thrilled about that. That's fine. Let us be the punching bag.
The problem is,
take the
if you already know what it's going to be, go ahead and tell people.
I agree with that.
I mean, and let
I don't
like the Band-Aid off.
Right. I don't like the idea
involved
that if you were Fox, you played this game, because I think that's what it was. You kind of played a game with the Ohio State Athletic Department. Like, sure, we'll discuss this, only to save face from a front-facing perspective.
Yeah. I mean, they know when it's coming.
You know when you picked the game, you picked the game. You know both of those are going to be at noon. Just tell us.
Yeah.
Give us enough time to properly prepare for it. But when that does happen, and you'll be able to hear every Ohio State football game on these
That's
very
funny,
airwaves.
Though. Ohio State Michigan is tradition noon start, even though the game of the century started at 4. I think it was 4 o'clock actually, and used to be they started at either noon. I think Michigan started home games way back when at noon, and Ohio State at 1:30. It might have been 1 and 1:30 until, now it's on television every year. So it has been for decades. But now the traditional start is 12:30. Noon.
We had talked in the previous segment about the unknown at the quarterback spot for Ohio State and Texas.
Yeah.
all the hullabaloo, all the talk in the world, 5-star guys. One of them's got a last name of Manning. Julian Sain was a guy that Ohio State, despite the talent they already had in the quarterback room, went into the transfer portal to get him as soon as he was made available. So there's all of the talk in the world about what these guys and what the potential can be, but you haven't seen it in a marquee matchup like this. And so that's going to be what everybody, I think, has the biggest amount of concern. I think it's concern.
Sure.
When you're going up against, while you've talked about the defensive players that Ohio State and Texas are going to have to replace, 8 starters for the Buckeyes.
Could make things easier for the quarterback.
It could. But there's going to be a lot of talent there.
Yeah, but they hadn't played together.
These two squads are going to look so different from the start of the season to the end of the season. I think for me, from an Ohio State fan perspective, it's just don't get embarrassed in this game.
Yeah.
It's not a must-win.
Well, yeah.
Is anything anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but this idea that Texas, is going to be head and shoulders over Ohio State or vice versa, if you just look at recruiting, like Jeremy Birmingham and all these guys that cover recruiting will tell you they both stockpiled some talent. Ryan Day will tell you this is a very talented Ohio State team. It just isn't that experienced at certain places, and has only run a real weak spot in its depth chart, which is defensive tackles. After you go past the first 2, it's a little bit of a crapshoot, and so there you go. Everybody knows all that, but Texas has kind of the similar challenges on the defensive side of the football. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, it's in name, it's a great matchup. Like we were talking about a while ago about Alabama not being in last year's playoff, but it's a name, But this is a name, I think, with credentials. These two names going at each other, so it's going to be a huge ratings hit. I think no matter when they play, and just Buckeye fans, there is something magic about Ohio Stadium at night.
Yeah,
I mean that Tennessee game was a production of the college football playoff. A lot of the pomp and circumstances, we call it, in and around that game, but that was still magic. And some of those Penn State games, Ohio State and Penn State, when they weren't on Big Noon, Big Noon's kind of hijacked a bunch of this stuff.
And I think that's a lot to it, where Ohio State fans just have fatigue from those 6 straight noon starts last year.
Yeah.
You're just like, let's maybe pick another time. But Fox needs Ohio State to help build up that brand.
Right.
Because there really isn't anybody else in the Big Ten.
And Fox is paying a lot of money. Fox is the one going out and selling the ads, So that's why you have to kowtow to a certain extent, but
because you can't make the 4 schools out west do big noon kicks.
Yeah.
When their home games at Los Angeles or Eugene or Washington or Seattle, can't have big noon out there.
Right.
So it's got to be.
It's funny because that's what we were sitting here last year wondering, when was Ohio State Oregon going to kick off? And of course we know there was an attempt at a 9 a.m. game. Well, not attempt, they did it in a 9 a.m. game. I think Southern Cal, who do they host a couple of years ago and stuff? The game started at 9 a.m. at Southern Cal, noon here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type thing. And no one was happy about that. But we're talking about 105,000 as opposed to, whatever the crowds are. But even at Oregon last year, they finally set the time and the network. And who did Ohio State Oregon? Was that CBS? I'm trying to remember.
NBC, I feel like.
Maybe it was NBC. But, a lot of things have to come together. But, the idea that you would start a game at 9 a.m., locally, wherever that is really nuts.
Yeah.
But hey, they start noon games Eastern at 11 a.m. in both the SEC and the Big Ten every year. The people are in Central Time Zone, so a lot of things are still on the table. But I would think they know this is probably going to be a noon start. They just don't want to say it.
We are a little too early for a too early top 25 or an official top 25, but Bill Connolly for ESPN has his post-spring S&P Plus ratings, and he uses a bunch of different formulas to factor out who right now the strongest teams in the country are. And he's got them all 136 FBS programs. Ohio State's number 1. Is the thing I think all Ohio State fans are wondering about. Then Alabama's at 2, Penn State's at 3, Georgia 4, Texas 5. Now, the thing most in common about those schools, I think, 4 of those 5 have quarterback questions.
Right.
Have guy that hasn't stepped in and done the job before. Penn State's, of the ones I see, the only one that's done the job before. And by the job, I mean has taken the entire season. Because even with I'm forgetting the Georgia quarterback's name. He had to come in because Carson Beck got his shoulder injured.
Correct.
And the further you go down on this SP Plus rankings list, the more you see that. You go, who's their quarterback? Who's their quarterback? And some guys are, guys that have just underperformed. There's a Nussmeier involved with an LSU, and you're wondering, well, a lot of people like him, but
right.
What do we really know about him? And it's a trend I'm interested to see where it goes because, again, as you continue down this list, the quarterback question.
Yeah, it's the quarterback question because everything goes through the quarterback.
It all goes through it.
But also you have offensive line. Ohio State's replaced a couple of really good offensive linemen, for example, and defensively, you've got to look at that quotient too.
Mm-hmm.
Julian Sayin, and Lincoln Keno's for this matter, but Julian Sayin is a very talented.
I have no doubt he's got a full-ride scholarship at Ohio State.
Arch Manning, millions of people have to be wrong about Arch Manning for him not to be pretty good, I
think so.
And a running, throwing threat like his grandpa, Archie Manning, his namesake, was a tremendous run-throw threat at Ole Miss back in the mid-late 60s. He's more like his grandpa than he is his two uncles. So that's what's interesting about that. So you're going to have a talent at quarterback, but are all the other pieces going to work? And, of course, you will be a little more conservative from a play-calling standpoint with brand-new starting quarterbacks. But there also comes times in games where you got to go win the game and run your offense, to a certain extent. So, yes, I expect both, for example, Texas and Ohio State to be conservative from a play-running standpoint at the beginning of games because you're trying to feel out what you've got overall, not just your quarterback. They both know they've got talented quarterbacks.
Of course. Every year they'll have a talented quarterback. How much can that quarterback handle when the other team is scheming to make your day a living hell, But then Texas has new starters on defense, just like Ohio State. How much can you scheme and not get yourself in trouble defensively? So that's going to be an interesting chess match in that regard on the 30th, whenever it starts. And we'll talk about Will Howard in the next hour, but the first couple weeks of the season, Ohio State fans are probably saying, what if we had Will Howard right about now? Because there was something to him, not the greatest arm in the world, but he was mobile. He had played a ton of college football before, and you put all of the pieces around it that made Ohio State's offense last season. You saw in that 4-game college football playoff stretch that was a fully armed and operational battle station.
But dude, they
had that piece.
They lost 2 starting offensive linemen to season-ending injuries and still recovered and won out. I mean, it was more than Will Howard. But the thing about Will Howard,
he pulls it all together.
Oh, yeah. The thing about Will, he was a veteran.
Right.
And he rolled with the punches. And the other thing about Will Howard was he got better and better as the year went on.
And nothing rattled him.
No. And he was so much better a quarterback just running the play, and it was more of a meeting of the minds of him and Chip Kelly on what they like best and don't like as the season went on. But he was so much better a quarterback in the playoffs than he was at the beginning of the year because he felt more comfortable. He was a better thrower at the end of the year than he was at the beginning. Just run him down the line. He improved dramatically. But that's what you have. That's the thing about college football. A team in November is not like the team you see on August 30th in almost any form or fashion. And you look at Ohio State, and it had lost 2 starters on his offensive line and shifted it around by the end of November last year. That's crazy to think a team did that and went on and won the national championship.
How much North Carolina football did you pay attention to last year?
A little bit, because they beat Minnesota, wasn't it? Minnesota in the season opener at Minnesota.
That sounds right.
And you think, okay, Mac, how long's Mac going to last? But Mac's got a pretty decent team here. They were able to make some plays, and then things went kind of like upside down on them in a couple of situations. But when you say one guy has played out his time, is pretty much in essence too old for the job, and you hire his replacement's almost the same age. Except he does have all these Super Bowl rings. What are you really saying to yourself?
What would the return, or what do you think the return on investment that North Carolina, because it wasn't North Carolina itself that cut that check for him.
Correct.
What are they thinking right now, considering everything that's happened with Bill Belichick before a football game's even been played? We'll discuss that next at Sports Saturday on The Fan.
Big Voice Guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Limit 10. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Bobcat Enterprises says thank you for your support as they celebrate 50 years of serving the construction industry. Established in 1975 in Cincinnati, Bobcat Enterprises has expanded to 9 stores to meet you where you are in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Find equipment for any construction project, including compact track loaders and excavators. Plus, Bobcat Enterprises rents compact equipment and attachments. Find current specials and locations at bobcatent.com or follow Bobcat Enterprises Inc. on Facebook. Bobcat Enterprises, 50 years working for you.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen. That's just you drinking a big gulp from Speedway. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. It is a big sale at Universal Windows Direct. You're getting an incredible 50% off your windows. That's half off, and it gets even better. For a limited time, you get no interest and no payments for 12 months. That's a whole year. I got to tell you when something's half and when something's a year. You also get a free entry door with your window purchase. Schedule your free in-home estimate today. Give them a call, 614-502-5220, or visit universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
If you haven't heard about Oakland Nursery's specialty decor stores, it's because your neighbor didn't want you to know where they've been finding all those hard-to-find items in their home. The Home Store in Dublin and Inside and Out in New Albany are 2 unique shopping experiences specializing in eclectic home decor and art. Discover items you won't find anywhere else, sure to make your guests envious. Love your home by finding inspiration at the Oakland Specialty Stores, the Home Store in Dublin, and Inside and Out in New Albany.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown, dumb since day one. The Fan.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking. An account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
The standing room only, with all eyes on the 18th green.
That's a good-looking ball.
The sudden roars. That Sunday celebration.
Jack always made the putt at 18, and today Scotty Scheffler did.
Witness the Memorial Tournament presented by Workday, May 26th through June 1st. It's second to none. Visit memorialtickets.com today.
Wow, what a shot.
It's not a bird or a plane. It's Mega May discounts at Coughlin Ford. Take over $5,500 off MSRP on a new 24 Ford Escape. Employee price $28,000. Or take over $7,000 off MSRP on new 25 F-150s and 24 F-250s. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
Coughlin has the car for you.
All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. Must finance through Ford Motor Credit. Not all will qualify. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. N6225.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Tim May, joining you on this Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for making us a little part of your introduction to summer. Whether you're driving on going to vacation, whether you're just participated in or watched a Memorial Day parade, or whether you're just hanging out with us as you get some stuff done around the yard, thank you for giving us some of your time. We do appreciate that.
I thought you were going to say whether you've got putting weenies on the grill around.
You could be doing that.
Hey, did you see the Oscar Mayer Weenie
Save one
Mobile?
for me.
Did you see the Oscar Mayer Weenie Mobile race at Indianapolis yesterday?
They raced.
Yeah, they raced. I think it was 8 Wiener mobiles.
Individual.
No,
Oscar Mayer Wiener mobiles.
I think they took 2 laps, and there was a big closing speed at the end. And
that thing can't go more than 45 miles per hour.
Slaw Dog came from behind to win it.
Were they different, like hot dogs with toppings on it, or was it all just?
Exactly. You couldn't tell the cars. You couldn't tell the hot dogs apart.
That would make.
But I'm sure they relished the victory.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
They sprayed mustard in the post game. I'm just joking. I made that up.
That would be a hell of a thing.
They did sing the Oscar Mayer theme song, though. They made people.
Is that before Gentlemen Start Your Engines?
Yeah, they told people to take off their hats and put their hands over their stomachs.
Because I feel like with a track like that, you don't want to get anything at all on that days before.
Oh, no.
Other than what's going to be, naturally coming from a car, rain. But yeah, if someone's trying to pour mustard on that track,
especially on Sunday, especially the main straightaway. But yeah, like I said, they run the old museum cars get out there and run laps and stuff, and at just slow speeds. But any one of them could have an oil leak at any moment.
So we had talked about North Carolina. They did beat Minnesota in the season opener last year. Tar Heels won 6 games last season.
Right.
On threes, got their over/under wins at 7.5, which means they're going to have a better season than last year, which I look at from a roster standpoint. I go, I don't necessarily know if that's the case, considering one of their most productive players defensively is now in the scarlet and gray, and one Bo Atkinson. So Bill Belichick comes in. They make him the 7th highest paid coach in college football. He's got a $10 million contract, right up there with Mike Norvell. Even Mike Norvell's got maybe 2-3 dozen more college football wins than Bill Belichick. Belichick's got a bunch of Super Bowls.
Yes.
So I think that's what they saw when they brought Bill in.
Yeah.
They saw the Super Bowls. They saw the name. They thought this is going to instantly propel us into ACC championship contention, despite having a coach that had them in ACC championship contention. I just think the time had run out between Mac Brown and UNC. So Mac Brown, he joined Sirius XM College Radio earlier this week. It was Danny Cannell that asked him about his time at the end at UNC, and then if the Heels have a chance to be successful quickly with Bill Belichick.
We always built programs on fit, and in our last couple of years there, we were having to get parents with money. We were trying to get kids over a 3.0 because that's who we could get. We signed 26 players at North Carolina, our next to last year, high school players, and didn't pay them a penny. So those kids, I felt guilty. We even had Omarion Hampton. He got offered $1 million plus to leave, and he stayed for $300,000. I told him he should leave because it was just crazy. As you were looking at those things, as far as North Carolina and Bill Belichick, now he's arguably the best coach ever. They've committed money to it. They've helped them with academics. They've lowered those standards some. So there's absolutely no reason that they shouldn't be successful. And anymore, they've changed the roster. I think they've signed maybe 60-something new transfers. So you've got a chance to succeed at the highest level, and I expect them to do that.
One thing about that opened my eyes, Tim, a little wider than normal, was that they changed their academic standards for Bill.
Yeah. We've heard that before from North Carolina, right?
They make classes. Like,
yeah.
Guys, there's no shame anymore.
No. Well, the thing is, remember the theory, not theory, I guess proven theory was that Lou Holtz had more waivers back when he first took over at Notre Dame than previous coaches had academic waivers. Because, it's kind of like once you kind of get a kid into school, he can pretty much stay. He can just puts a little effort. He can pretty much stay academically. It's more of the entrance requirements and stuff. And then supposedly after he won the 1988 national championship, they took most of those waivers away. And so Notre Dame sort of suffered because of that. But it's like Ohio State. I mean, what stuns you about Ohio State, in my opinion? I didn't mean to make that segue, but it's a good segue.
Do it.
Is their APR is unprecedented.
Yep.
Now they've done all this winning under Ryan Day, first under the Urban Meyer, now under Ryan Day, but Ryan Day's really taking it to another level with just quality people and smart guys for the most part. I mean, you don't have to settle. No. You don't have to give in. You can still go out and get those elite minds as well as football players. Is everybody Einstein on the football team? Absolutely not. But they seem to, for the most part, stay out of trouble, right? And, of course, I think one of the things that's helped most major college programs with players staying out of trouble, other than, breaking the law, is the fact that there is no trouble to get into anymore when it comes to, remuneration, for want of another term. But they've just recruited quality people. I don't know how to explain it except other than that.
That's a good way to say it. I would just say they've got serious people running that operation.
And Mac Brown had the same aspirations. At North Carolina, you win with people, and you can you feel even better when you win with quality people. But
Texas.
But the bottom line is, in major college sports now, they've remade their roster at North Carolina. Just like Dion did for the most part at Colorado. I mean, right on down the line, you've got to be willing and able to do that now. And that is the main part of the game. I mean, Bill Belichick studied this, brought in guys with him who've had NFL experience, study it on how are we going to attack roster attrition, but then also adding to our roster from the transfer portal. You got to be on top of all this, like Mark Pantoni is for Ohio State and his staff.
So it's when I say serious people, you mentioned one of them who kind of runs that whole operation off the field for Bill Belichick, and you bring in Mike Lombardi, who had, I don't think, ever worked in college football, and you also have running your marketing department your 24-year-old girlfriend. And that's the only thing, really, Tim, that interests me about this whole Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson thing, is the fact that there is a Power 4 program, a school that wants to be a serious contender, paying its coach $10 million, and you've got his girlfriend telling HBO that they're not welcome in the team facilities to do something that would give your school only more the word I'm looking for is escaping, but more coverage. More eyeballs on what you're trying to do and build a serious football program.
But, I mean, that would clearly have to be approved or unapproved by Bill Belichick. And you would think as things have gone, he would not be real comfortable through his career.
I mean,
He'd not be real comfortable with a camera hanging over his shoulder in college football.
You had proofs ready to go for HBO or for Warner to use it. Their upfronts of Bill Belichick doing it means that there was some interest in Bill from Bill to do this, and the perception that his girlfriend is putting the kibosh on it all, it reeks of they're just not serious people in Chapel Hill. USA, number 1. Everybody else, 2 or less. That's next. Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Catch T-Bone and Tyvus weekday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not completely satisfied, we'll rewind time and erase your brain. For real, the Fan.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Hey, it's Anthony for Orthopedic One. I'm not invincible anymore. I never was, but I refuse to punt on things I still love to do. That's why over the past several years, when I've had things creep up, like back pain, shoulder issue, elbow problem, I've had it all, I've always chosen Orthopedic One. That's because Orthopedic One is Ohio's largest physician-owned orthopedic practice with 60 physicians in every specialty. Find a physician or location near you at orthopedic1.com. Orthopedic One. This is where you go to get better.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Make your summer celebrations a good deal better with sizzling deals from Meijer. Fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef family packs for just $3.49 per pound, limit 5. Or chicken drumsticks family packs for only 99 cents per pound. And mini seedless watermelon or buy one, get one for $1. Plus, enjoy hot deals all summer long on Meijer brand must-haves, like Meijer chips for $1.99 and Meijer hamburger and hot dog buns for $1.39. Summertime is always a good deal better at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay, moving up payday so you could get your money faster, up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Jacob Reimer. The Guardians picked up their third win in a row last night, beating the Tigers 3-1. They put 2 across the plate in the first inning thanks to hits from Jose Ramirez and Carlos Santana. Stephen Kwan had 3 hits and also drove in a run in the ball game. They go for the series win over Detroit later tonight. The Reds got out on the Cubs early last night, putting up a 3 spot in the first inning and led 6-2 after 5. Things took a turn in the top of the 7th when the Cubs plated 6 in the inning, 3 in the 8th, and 2 in the 9th, giving Friday night's game a final of 13-6. Hunter Green returned from the IL last night, only threw 4 innings, struck out 2, allowed 3 hits, and gave up 2 runs. Cincinnati will look to bounce back later today. And in the NBA playoffs, the Pacers took Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals from the Knicks behind Pascal Siakam's 39 points. Indiana now takes a commanding 2-0 series lead back home for Games 3 and 4. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
All right, so I lied. Eric Reeser, Tim May, Cole Bartimes. We're doing the Saturday Spectacular for another hour on this Memorial Day weekend.
Wow.
I'm going to talk a little baseball.
Overtime. I love it.
Is that okay with you? Are you good, Tim May?
Yeah, you can talk
just
all
some
the baseball you want.
Real quick. Can I interest you in that? And for the schedule
yes.
Today, Reds and Cubs, 4:10. Game 2 of that 4-game set. You can hear it over on ESPN Columbus. As for the Guardians, they look to make it 3 in a row and 2 in a row on the AL Central leading Detroit Tigers tonight at 7:15. Guardians are playing the Motor City Kitties at 7:15. It's on Fox. You got big boy Major League Baseball. Well, the Tigers are big. I don't know about the Guardians right now.
Yeah.
That's a prime timer. Because, Fox can't move off their evening MLB requirements.
Hey, man,
they can't do it in June. They can't do it in July.
They came into college football to make a splash. And their splash was high noon, basically,
They invented the noon window.
Because it sounded good. And it's just, there are other networks that also start games occasionally at noon. And so that's how you end up with Ohio State playing 6 straight noon games last year.
Have to have the Buckeye brand raise all of the ships. Because Rutgers isn't going to do it.
If you're Fox, you're going to put Ohio State on as many times as possible.
Yes, because eyeballs will follow.
Ratings booster.
Yep. I teased America. America, number 1. USA. All the countries.
You're about to sing America the Beautiful.
I could go into that rendition. Maybe I'll do it at 1 o'clock. But I'll sing it just for you and Cole. Team USA is on to the gold medal game in the IIHF World Hockey Championships going on right now in Greece. So they beat Sweden 6-2 today. They'll reach the gold medal game for the first time since 1934. Zach Werenski is part of this team. The United States is guaranteed gold or silver for the first time since 1950. So good job, Team America on ice.
Thing or not a thing?
It is a thing.
Thing, yeah.
Absolutely, especially when you're able to dominate Sweden like you did, and you have either Sweden or Denmark likely the opponent for tomorrow's gold medal game.
It's just amazing that a tournament's going on while also the NHL playoffs
are
going
happening.
on.
Have you watched or do you care any at all about the Eastern or Western Conference finals in the NHL?
I'll be honest with you. I will watch if there's a elimination game. Somebody's game 7 or an elimination. Yeah, I will watch, but I don't watch every game. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. I do find hockey fascinating, and I do enjoy the sport, but I don't stay home to watch it.
Yeah, and it's for tonight. You've got Hurricanes-Panthers Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes,
but these kind of now feel like formalities because Florida's hosting Game 3 and 4, and
the grind of hockey playoffs is
long.
Yeah, I mean it's as close as you get to football, like I say, without playing football. Maybe rugby, but the fact that these guys endure that, you give it up to them, man, because best of 7, and then you got to play another best of 7.
Another series after this.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and Florida just went 7 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They'll probably go 4, maybe 5 against the Carolina Hurricanes, but then you've got that other series, like you mentioned, to defend their Stanley Cup title.
Do you think Florida repeats?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it.
For the however many road games, Sergei Bobrovsky's been one of the best players on the ice. And I know he's got a murderer's row in front of him, and they've got such talent offensively. I mean, they brought in Seth Jones, and they brought in Brad Marchand at the trade deadline. I mean, those are it's just unfair that a Florida team's going to win the Stanley Cup twice, and in the last 10 years, Florida teams have won the Stanley Cup at least 5 times.
Mm-hmm. And like you just pointed out, a couple of the difference makers used to call Columbus home.
Well, yeah. I don't have to. I mean, Bob's an all-time Blue Jacket, and that's who I root for in this. I don't want to see Florida win it, but I'm thrilled for Bob.
Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. I mean, whatever gets you to watch the game, that's all they care about. But,
8:00 on TNT. I'm not sure I'm going to be making that tonight, especially because again, Carolina has not put up a fight in 2 games, so I don't expect that to be the case tonight in Florida against a raucous Panther crowd in Sunrise, which is like adjacent to Miami.
Yeah,
it's still Miami's team, I guess, but. In the NBA, you've got.
Well, have you ever been to Hard Rock Stadium?
I've not.
It's in Miami Gardens, not Miami. Should never be confused with Miami Beach.
Fort Lauderdale is also. They also want to be considered Miami.
Yeah,
but they're not.
No. Oh, yeah. If I was Fort, yeah. I mean, it's Hollywood,
would you want to be your own brand?
Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah.
Is right. Hollywood, Florida is closer to where the Dolphins play than Miami is.
On the court tonight in the NBA, you've got Thunder and Timberwolves. Game 3 of that series, Minnesota's going to be hosting. 8:30 on ABC. I think that's big for the NBA to get Western Conference Finals games and then NBA Finals games onto ABC because that, I think, can be like the big net where you just catch people flipping around and an NBA game's going on.
So right now you got to put your life on the line, got to put your mortgage on the line. Who wins the NBA championship based on these teams?
Right now I'm going to go Thunder.
And why Thunder?
I think they're able to beat the Timberwolves in this series, and I think they're a better team.
Well, I hope they
with a better player overall with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I think the Pacers have won the Eastern Conference already.
I like where the Pacers are playing as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and boy, they turn it up on defense when they have to at the end of games, as much as they do on offense. And I think there's something special about a team that. I just think Indiana's got that special quality to it this year. Could be totally wrong. They could lose 4 straight to the Knicks.
Well, they could.
Yeah, because the Knicks could have won the first 2.
Boy, they should have won the first one.
Oh yeah.
There's a sense of magic, right, with this Indiana Pacers squad. It feels like they've caught that lightning in a bottle. That even the players said that Tyrese Halliburton was the most overrated player in the league. And through the first round, the second round, and now into the conference finals, you're like, nope. He's who he thinks he is, and he's playing like one of the best players in the NBA.
Yeah.
But they ask the players for a reason, and they think that that's I don't know. It has some weight to it. It stinks again thinking about what the Cavs could have done, winning 64 games in the regular season, and then you kind of fart out the way they did against the Pacers. I know,
like you and I were talking about. You and I were talking about before the show started. I mean, from a physical standpoint, they kind of got beat up a little bit. I mean. in that game weren't ready for that style of basketball.
And they should have been, because I would consider myself a very lay basketball person. And I was saying before the Cavs play the Pacers, they're going to bully you. Yep. They're a longer team. They're the fastest team in the NBA. Their length is going to give you a bunch of headache. You're going to try to do this switching thing that Kenny Atkinson's insisted on, where like every rotation defensively you're switching, you're putting Jared Allen out on the perimeter, and it's like, well, he's not supposed to be there.
Right.
And he didn't fix it. And again, the layperson said at the beginning of the series it was going to be a fist fight, and you should have known. You didn't.
Just like going in a boxing match, you know
I'm
you're going to get
clearly over it, Tim.
You know you're going to get punched. How do you handle the punch? And they didn't handle it very well.
No, and so fortunately for Cleveland fans, you have the Guardians being the shining light for you sports-wise, because it damn sure ain't the Cleveland Browns.
I think it's called next.
OTAs for Cleveland start on Tuesday, similarly with the Bengals, and I do think the Steelers have theirs coming up on the 27th. So OTAs, the organized team activities, are the closest thing you're going to get to actual football until training camp. And the NFL is the blob that consumes everything. Like even this week at owners' meetings, where you had it reportedly from several that the NFL pushed the Packers to ban the tush push. Mm-hmm. The NFL told the Packers, hey, you got to push this out there. We don't want the tush push anymore. So you got to be the one to take the slings and the arrows. They also, and this was Lions president Rod Wood said the NFL even told them, hey, put that proposal out, just straight seed the teams.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about
legislation. You're looking for legislation.
To get us to, we'll talk about it. Like, we want those proposals out there, see if they'll get a vote on. And even comments made by Commissioner Goodell after the meetings say that, like, the tush-push discussion isn't dead, and I just want it to be dead.
Yeah.
I don't
Here's
care,
the thing
Tim.
I don't like about it. I do not like the ability to push the quarterback. I don't like you. I don't mind you ganging up in the middle of the field and pushing the defense backwards, but also to be able to push on the quarterback. Never like that. We all know the Reggie Bush, the Matt Leinart push against Notre Dame, which should have been caught and wasn't. But the bottom line is, I don't like that. But the flip side of it is, if it's
legal,
just because it's legal doesn't mean you can do it. You as another
Only
team
one
can
team
do it.
does it to success.
And so when so we were talking about Penske Racing getting nailed, about some like almost innocuous rules infraction. The bottom line is that you are breaking the rules. And now the big question is, if they outlaw the tush push, what does that mean? Meaning, what can you do? You know what I mean? Because I remember talking with Jim Hall, the guy who basically brought ground effects into racing way back when. I remember I interviewed him one time at Indianapolis, and he goes, once you introduce ground effects.
Real quick, what's ground effects?
That's where the air going under the car, you have like basically what's known as an underwing, where the air goes under and then the bottom of the car is curved so that you create, when the air goes under there and kind of wants to escape, it's like an airplane wing upside down. It creates a low pressure system right under the car, back middle of the car, the way it was first designed, and it sticks the car in the corners as long as you maintain a certain speed. That's called ground effects. And as he pointed out, because Formula One tried to outlaw ground effects after it had such a almost devastating effect, pardon the pun, on their fields. But as Jim Hall said, once you introduce a concept, you can say you can't do this to make it, but people will be finding other ways to do it. And that's definitely true in racing. Just like in football, if you outlaw the tush push, does that mean you can't have more than one guy blocking in the middle of the offensive line along with your offensive line? What we're going to be. I never understood the parameters around the change.
Yeah, coaches, players, teams are always going to look for ways to exploit advantages that they have. And
correct.
With me for the tush push, you tried it once to get it outlawed. You got 14 owners. You tried it again. You got 22.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Let's be done now at this point.
No,
you tried
close.
You tried it twice. I want to put the tush push in a box, put that box into a canoe, put some hay around the box in the canoe, and give it a Viking funeral. I also want to be done discussing Deshaun Watson ever again.
Okay.
I know there was stuff this week that he's rehabbing from his ankle thing. As a Browns fan,
that's what I was going to ask you.
Talking to Browns fans, it's just, I want to be off this ride, please.
Who's going to be the Browns starting quarterback?
We will discuss that next. It's Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Whatever you're doing right now,
Just know that Bo Bishop is enjoying a sip of bourbon.
even if this promo is playing in the morning,
No judgment.
Sweet morning drinking.
The Fan.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious. That's you stepping up to the plate. That's you winning your kickball game.
Yeah, that's good.
That's you taking another sip of your Do the Do.
Common Man and Bob Capace here for Worthington Jewelers. Bob, you know what I love the most about you?
That I pay you to do these commercials?
That and the way you treat your customers.
All right, listen. I will hook you up in our warm, inviting environment. You will be greeted by our top sales professionals that are non-commissioned, but will help guide you through the entire process.
You're my guy, Bob. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com. Tell them Bob Capace sent you.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen. That's just you drinking a big gulp from Speedway. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Nashville's hottest band, Old Dominion, is coming to Great American Ballpark on July 10th as part of the Ohio Lottery post-game concert series. After the Reds take on the Marlins, all fans in attendance are invited to stay and enjoy a set from Old Dominion. Plus, you can upgrade your ticket to a pit field pass for an up-close view of the show. For tickets and more information, visit reds.com/concerts.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here, and tell me if this sounds familiar. Over the weekend, you went into your closet trying on shorts from last year. They were all too tight, so you searched deeper in the closet, looking through shorts you stashed away from thinner years. Maybe a big pair had gotten lost in the mix. No luck. Well, I'm here to tell you, don't buy bigger shorts. Instead, do what I did and fit into the ones from last year in just a few weeks with Awaken 180 weight loss. Heck, you'll be wearing your thin shorts again just a few weeks after that. How do I know? Because I'm still wearing my thin Austin shorts again this summer. I've kept my 50 pounds off thanks to Awaken 180's free maintenance support for life. Say it with me. I won't buy bigger shorts. Make that pledge, then call Awaken 180 and make the most out of this summer and every summer after. Awaken 180, your long-term solution for weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or head online at awaken180weightloss.com. You won't regret it.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
This promo is for anyone who likes baseball or America or Terry Francona's scooter. The Reds are on the Fan. Catch all 162 games here on the Fan and 1460 ESPN Columbus and the Fan's HD2. Your home for Reds baseball, the Fan.
The standing room only with all eyes on the 18th green.
That's a good-looking ball.
The sudden roars. That Sunday celebration.
Jack always made the putt at 18, and today Scotty Scheffler did.
Witness the Memorial Tournament presented by Workday, May 26th through June 1st. It's second to none. Visit memorialtickets.com today.
Wow, what a shot.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
At Uline,
They know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
For your Saturday, we're looking ahead to plenty of sunshine with highs into the upper 60s. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then for tonight, mostly clear and cool. The temperatures dip back into the upper 40s. By Sunday, we'll see more clouds around and the chance for a couple of rain showers, highs into the mid-60s, and then drier conditions and a little bit more sunshine here on Memorial Day with highs right around 70. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Speaking of annoying, Deshaun Watson. He'll be around the Cleveland Browns this season, but after 2 Achilles tears in the span of 60 days, there is no chance he returns to actual football activities other than just throwing and wearing a helmet and doing videos for social media.
Okay.
Just keep him away from the actual quarterbacks that you want to have start for your team this season.
Okay.
But actual quarterbacks, you got 4 of them. You got Dylan Gabriel, you got Shedeur Sanders, the 2 you picked up in the draft. You traded Dorian Thompson-Robinson to Pittsburgh to get Kenny Pickett, or Philadelphia, excuse me. And you have Joe Flacco. And Tim, I said this to you in the break. I've said this to friends. If Joe Flacco starts a single game for the Cleveland Browns this season, I don't know how you can keep Andrew Berry as general manager. Because if that's the case, barring catastrophic injury to the 3 others that I mentioned in the Browns quarterback room, Joe Flacco cannot be further along than these guys when you open the season.
Yeah.
He just can't be at this point.
Well, you never know.
No, you don't.
And because Kenny Pickett just comes in with all kinds of question marks, because I really
Small
thought,
hands.
I thought he had the capability, the ability and capability to be a starting quarterback in the NFL when he was drafted, and then sometimes things just don't go for you, don't go right for you. I mean, look at Baker Mayfield.
Well, I certainly think
they don't go right for you wherever you are.
Pickett,
so new lease on life can help.
Gabriel, Shedeur, Will Howard have the capability to start and to be successful quarterbacks in the NFL, but it's everything else that has to be around them that's got to be right to make this work. Because you talk about Baker, and I wish the Browns didn't move on from him when they did, but Stefanski, that wasn't Stefanski's guy, and so it just wasn't going to work out. And so Baker needed to do the kind of cross-country tour that he did to wind up and be the quarterback that's been so successful for Tampa Bay.
Yes.
You need to go through those things, I think, to be your fully developed quarterback that can have you success in the National Football League.
But how many more quarterbacks you're going to go through? I mean,
you're doing 4 this season, Tim.
I know. And the thing about it is, this isn't profound at all. I think the most talented of those 4 just playing the position is Dylan Gabriel. But, of course, he doesn't strike people's fancy because he's 5'11", maybe even on his tiptoes. I stood in front of him several times, but, for different reasons and stuff, like before the Rose Bowl and in the pregame or the preseason
the Big Ten meetings?
At Big Ten meetings in Indianapolis and stuff. He is a short guy, but doesn't mean if he had I'm not going to say it that way. If he was 6'3",
he'd be a first-round draft pick.
I'll make that on what the addition would make him. If he was 6'2" or 6'3", he would be the guy, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
He plays. He has savvy. He has clear feel for the game. Sanders, you cannot debate, no matter whether you like him or not. I'm not a big fan of him totally. Forget about it, all the off-field stuff.
No, just as a football player.
I mean, I do like his awareness and the way he played in come from behind or clutch situations.
He had a lot of bad talent around him at Colorado.
Yeah, he didn't have
Travis Hunter. He didn't have an offensive line for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They tried so many times to get new running backs in, and that just never worked out for him. So I think as pure, and for Dylan Gabriel and even for Shedeur, they did, Dylan Gabriel did a lot of winning at a lot of different places.
And was prolific.
And in my opinion, you have to be a good football player to win a lot at Central Florida, and then to go win big games at Oklahoma, and then to be Big Ten Player of the Year in your lone season at Oregon. You're a really good football player. Now, the situation has to work to where he's going to start games for the Cleveland Browns, because I think if you put truth serum into Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, they'd like it to be Kenny Pickett, and then for one of these two rookies to come aboard. But they want those three that I mentioned to be good enough to go into the season with, and then you can say, thanks for hanging out with us, Flacco.
Yeah. I was just talking about if Tim May, if I was running, I mean, I look at Dylan Gabriel as a pure talent who's short. And that's the way I look at it. And Kenny Pickett, you got to believe they went and got him for a reason. They think there is value there that has not been realized either by maybe not being trained the right way at his first stop to ending up, down on the depth chart at his second stop. So it makes sense to give him a shot because he was highly rated coming out of Pitt, and for a lot of reasons. He made plays when he had to a lot of the time, right on down the line. Flacco, it's just interesting. You got this old veteran, you got a journeyman in Pickett, and you got two rookies, two freshmen at the other spot. And why you muddied those waters by taking Shedeur Sanders, I just don't understand that, because you almost had the perfect kind of quarterback room in terms of, like I said, an old guy who can steer the oil tanker through the straits, and then you've got Kenny Pickett who may be able to drive the speedboat. We're going to find out. And then you got Dylan Gabriel, if he can just get a season under him, he figures out ways to throw the ball between players. I mean, everybody talks about the short guys and all their passes being knocked down. Go back and look how many passes Dylan Gabriel completed over the last 5 years in major college football. It's pretty astounding. And the way he made plays and can also make plays with his feet. So I think he had almost perfect quarterback. And then all of a sudden you had this, of course they turned down Hard Knocks, because they decided to make their quarterback room one of the exhibits at the zoo.
Yeah. They brought in,
and you got Deshaun Watson still sitting there.
A lot of unnecessary attention for a team that doesn't need a lot of that right now. And again, to that, the elephant's there in number 4.
Yeah,
and that with the Flacco decision, what I had said before about Andrew Berry isn't in itself the biggest sin. Where you get Sanders, you have Gabriel, 2 quarterbacks in the same draft, Pickett, Flacco, if it doesn't work out, but because of the Watson thing, now you are judged even tougher because you put all of that into Deshaun, to where now you're just going to have him sit there for 2 years.
Yeah.
So nobody's taking the contract and nobody's taking the bad baggage. I know there was talk about, maybe finding a trade partner for him. Whom?
Yeah.
UFL?
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to eat a lot of that money. Why not keep him around? Who knows, man? October, he may be running around and looking great, and you're going, man, we've got a couple of guys injured here, banged up. We still got Deshaun Watson, who should have won the Heisman Trophy but didn't. We've got a pretty good guy here who was a number 1 draft pick and played pretty well for a few years before things went south in all kinds of ways.
Those few years were so many years ago. The one thing that never ceases to amaze me of the NFL is the I can fix this-ness. I know there's a better way to phrase that.
Matt Stafford banged around all those many years at Detroit, and then he won a Super Bowl with the L.A. Rams. Look at Goff right now, Jared Goff, and
I don't know if those are the fairest comparisons.
No, but
I will hear you.
But then you never know when it's going to happen. I mean, like John Elway didn't win a Super Bowl until his last 2 years. Yes. So you never know when it's going to click with guys. I'm talking about guys who've been rated as having the capability.
I think it was Dabo Sweeney, like during the draft process. Dabo said, if you pass on Deshaun, it's like not drafting Michael Jordan.
Yes. Yeah, he did say that. I think he did say that.
It hadn't worked out for any of the teams. But you still got to have,
like you've said so many times, you still got to have all those other pieces.
Everything around him
on an NFL team. Like C.J. Stroud found out last year, it wasn't quite as easy because some of the pieces were missing, some of the pieces were banged up. They're feeling pretty good down in Houston today, I do believe. I think they think they can have a hell of a football team. And
they should.
And C.J. Stroud will be a prime reason for it. But you've already judged that these guys, a lot of people judge these guys as having that capability. And I don't think that necessarily goes away. I think you do get gun shy. So, but Flacco played pretty well until he didn't.
And then when he didn't, it was really, really bad. We saw it in Columbus. Could something similar happen in Pittsburgh? That's in 2 minutes. It's Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Hey, guys, it's Timmy Hall from my friends at Orthopedic One, Central Ohio's most trusted orthopedic practice. 2 years ago, I was actually experiencing hip pain for the first time in my life, and I knew I needed the best. So I chose Orthopedic One for my physical therapy needs. And in a matter of weeks, I was rotating that golf swing better than before, and I was the longest hitter in my group again. So be like me and trust Orthopedic One. Several convenient locations around Central Ohio. To find a physician or location near you, go to www.orthopedic1.com.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks, and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof, every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
With rates lower than the national average, plus special rates on balance transfers, a BMI Federal Credit Union Visa Platinum or Visa with Rewards credit card would be the perfect card for your wallet. Visit bmifcu.org/visa for more details and to apply today.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
So, what was it? Just 2 quarterbacks that were taken in the first round of the NFL draft. That decision by the Giants to get Jackson Dart is certainly a decision.
Hey, you make it, you live with it.
Boy, I would like to see them on Hard Knocks again. I think it's going to be the Buffalo Bills have the offseason Hard Knocks or the training camp Hard Knocks, and then the NFC East, I think, is doing the in-season Hard Knocks. So
I think that's correct.
You're getting a look at a Buffalo team that I don't know if they're interesting enough to carry that. I think you're going to have to go out into the community and get Bills Mafia to make that because I don't.
Well, what's intriguing about Buffalo is what was intriguing about Buffalo 30 years ago of getting almost there but not getting it done. Obviously, they got there but didn't get it done way back when. Yeah. But that's what's intriguing about them. And, their quarterback is one of the great quarterbacks in the league, except, he doesn't have a ring. He's a hell of a golfer, by the way.
I imagine guys like him are good at anything.
I watched him play with, a couple things with Bryson DeChambeau and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that YouTube golf, all that milieu.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's better, in a lot of respects, it's better than the golf tournaments, in my opinion, the real golf tournaments. But so you got your quarterback in place, but, do you? Because of other failings on that team, they go out and get Joey Bosa, a 1-year contract, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of like his moment, Do you still have it, Joey? You haven't played a complete season in forever, right? Has he ever played a complete season? I'm trying to think. I should just know this off the top of my head. But the bottom line is, it looks like the Bills have sort of gone, hey, this is the year, man.
Yep.
You got to make the push.
The way they've spent this offseason tells me, similarly with Cincinnati, we're going for it.
Yeah.
This is going to be that. And
that's what's cool about the NFL, though, is you think this team has put it all together now, but this other team is trying to do exactly the same thing. And like I always explain to people, National Football League teams are all-star teams. They're not rummy dummies, and it just shows you how much better the talent is even at that level from one player to the next. But clearly, I think the Bills kind of think they're running out of time. Let's say with this model.
The way, again, they spent the offseason tells me the exact same thing is that organization knows, window's going to close in here, and then when it closes, it doesn't just like gently close on you.
But that's going to be
those windows get slammed shut.
Because there will be some big decisions made in their preseason camp, for example. Yeah, I do believe that will be interesting. But when you're a team and you're trying to find your next starting quarterback, identify him and or establish him is more the case, because a lot of times you know who it's going to be. That's a little different can of worms, man, because you can for a team from an internal standpoint, because you want to show as much camaraderie and as much backing of that guy as you can, because everything ultimately depends on how that guy plays and whether he stays healthy or not. But if you have questions about him, from a Hard Knock standpoint, they try to record everything. I'm not sure they show anywhere close to everything they get, obviously. And I've always understood that teams have a little bit of purview there. Maybe I'm wrong. I know in the past they have about, well, you know what? Maybe not that. Yeah. But when you're having that kind of question, maybe you would prefer people stay out of the room.
And I'm sure, and I know this in some seasons where you have front offices that have thrown out little like smoke screens, like, oh no, go follow this guy, or take your cameras and follow this guy, and they turn out to be, while fun stories, they don't actually have anything of substance, because they're guys that get cut 2 weeks later, or that don't make the actual 53-man roster.
There's a feel-good story.
Devin Kajust for the Cleveland Browns. Just to pay off real quick, Bosa, it looks like he's got 9 seasons of time served in the National Football League, 3 has he started or played in all 16 games in the regular season. So he factors to be a big piece for the Buffalo Bills, but yeah, I just go back to the angst that Bills fandom has for just getting right to the doorstep and not quite getting in. 30 years ago, they got in a little bit.
Oh, they got in.
And they didn't quite get it done.
Yeah, they didn't move from the foyer.
That's the interesting place that HBO can go with it, and just talking to Bills fans of different generations that all kind of experienced the same thing. That's where the interest would be for me there, but that's just what's going to... I thought North Carolina would have been better.
Yeah.
But Jordan Hudson put the kibosh on that one. For Will Howard, he's in a situation that I think presents a lot of opportunity for him. And that's probably not breaking any news, but here's a quarterback that they think can be a great backup based off of where they draft him.
Yeah.
A suitable backup that can, when called upon, command a team, command an offense, not turn the ball over, and just be a leader in a situation where you've had to, in case of emergency, break glass, because they think they've got Aaron Rodgers riding through that door.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Like I said earlier, I've said several times, he got so much better last year from beginning of the year to the end of the year, just playing quarterback, mechanically throwing the ball. He got so much better. Stuff he didn't really get at his previous stop, Kansas State, and he's the first one to tell you that. He didn't, not disparaging Kansas State.
They weren't serious people.
No, you got Chip Kelly and Ryan Day and Billy Fessler all there talking to you. And as Ryan Day will tell you, admits to, he's hard on quarterbacks, man. I mean, he shows them no quarter, pardon the pun. There's a lot of puns flying around today, but he shows them no quarter in terms of you have to be tough on them, because the game, you fix it in practice, so in the game you don't make that necessarily mistake. And but the thing about that impresses me about Will is his, there's another pun, his will.
Mm-hmm.
He has a will, a desire to be really good if he can get there. He does his homework. All you got to do is watch the way he went through things in the playoffs, especially when defenses tried to mess with him those 4 games, and he found a way. And then on top of that, he's going to be paying attention in class. So I think it'll be interesting, let's say that, to see if they give him a shot finally and what that looks like.
Well, there might be situations where they have to.
Exactly.
Because if you're going in through OTAs and you've got your mandatory minicamp and there's no Aaron Rodgers, it's Will Howard, it's Skylar Thompson, and I'm forgetting Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph.
That's your quarterback room. And so you would want to say, all right, rookie, there's the best opportunity you can get. So I think the waiting on the Rodgers provides Will Howard a lot of opportunity.
The question is, how many opportunities are you going to see like that in the Cleveland OTAs and preseason camp for 4, possibly 5 quarterbacks down the line?
There are only so many reps.
That's the I think that's the the reason you don't bring in, you don't have that 4th quarterback is that 3rd guy, identify that guy and then go coach him up, so to speak. And so I'm as curious as anybody to see what happens in that room because it's very interesting.
Which both Cleveland and Pittsburgh?
The Cleveland quarterback room. A guy with his foot out the door, yet he's still had enough savvy to do some good things for you the last time he was at Cleveland. Kenny Pickett, who, like I said, has been identified as a first-round caliber type quarterback who can do things. And then these 2 guys, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Because here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders could talk about the camaraderie and everything in that room. Dude, this is a business now. This is truly a business. And you're trying to get the number one job in that business. I'm not sure how much camaraderie there's really going to be about the 3rd week of training camp.
Yeah, it's for me with Sanders is he's got all of that around him, that his social media activity, his podcast, the people around Shedeur. How do they handle what's going to be at times struggles?
Yes.
Or like when his number came out, or when he picked his number. Like his manager or one of his producers had a bunch of stuff on social media, and it's like all of these, except for Joe Flacco, all of these guys see that, and they go, "What are you doing? What is this?"
Yeah,
and that's the
Patrick Mahomes' wife. Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What's this about? Like with Patrick Mahomes Sr., with Patrick Mahomes' brother, they're a team, the Kansas City Chiefs, that can deal with kind of stuff like that because they've won and they've got a culture in there that can deal with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. The Cleveland Browns cannot deal with any of that.
Yeah.
They need everybody focused on the same page and not worrying about your number.
Yeah, but it's pro football, and almost every training camp you got stuff going on, man. I mean, these are guys fighting for their careers, fighting for their jobs and stuff, and there's going to be rancor in the ranks by their backers also. Everybody's trying
to fight through that.
Everybody's trying to portray why my guy should be the guy. If I'm the guy, I'm trying to portray why I should be the guy. And eventually you have to step up and pretty much take it on the field. But that's the problem. You don't get enough chances to play real football.
No, and again, with 4 quarterbacks, the reps are so few and far between that.
Right.
Yeah, they've already said that the 1s and 2s are going to get reps split with Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, and then the 3s and the 4s, which the 3s and 4s, are going to be Shedeur and Joe. And so the plan already I don't love. It's almost like I don't love the Browns plan. I would rather have the Steelers quarterback plan right now than the
Bill
Cleveland
Belichick
Browns
had a great
plan.
thing to say when he talked. I've talked about this before on this show. When he talked to the Ohio State Coaches Clinic several years ago, when Urban Meyer had him in, I think it was. But the toughest thing in a pro football camp is to make it like a college football camp, meaning everybody fighting to get better and make the team better, when a lot of the guys on the field know eventually they're not going to be on this team. It's quite the dynamic.
When putting today's program together, Tim, you sent something to us that made me think, why does he want us to light our money on fire? That's next, Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay. Moving up payday so you could get your money faster. Up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Get ECO.
Aaron,
Which brand of air conditioner is the most energy efficient?
It's the one that's had its outside coils cleaned correctly.
Well, I can wash those off with a garden hose, right?
No.
Why not?
Humidity mixes with dust and pollen to create a micro-thin film of sticky paste that gets baked onto those hot outside coils.
And that baked-on stuff keeps my coils from releasing their heat into the atmosphere.
Which means your system has to run longer, which uses a lot more energy and it shortens the life of your air conditioner.
Get Eco.
ECO. How do we get that baked-on stuff off?
Remove the exterior shroud, then spray the coils from the inside out with a special eco-friendly solvent.
Can I rinse the solvent off with a garden hose?
Yeah, but only from the inside out.
Or I could just pay Eco to do it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco doesn't take shortcuts. We do it the right way every time.
Get Eco professional coil cleaning for just $468.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
How about this? You need auto insurance. You could A, pick AAA to find the best coverage for you, or B, spend so much time researching insurance jargon that you might as well have gotten a law degree.
Yeah, I'm going with A.
Right. Okay, you're booking a vacation. You can A, have AAA plan it for you, or B, stress so hard about layovers and getting to your cruise that you need a vacation from booking your vacation.
That's easy. A, AAA.
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
Can't get enough of your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
Get Mega May discounts at Coghlan Kia. Lease a new Kia K4, only $89 a month for 24 months. Or get 1.9% financing for 48 months. Or $2,000 bonus cash on a new 25 Kia Sportage or Sorrento. Visit CoglanKia.com. Coghlan has the car for you.
$49.99 to assigning 10,000 miles per year. 20 cents per mile over. Tax, title, and license fees excluded. No security deposit. $400 disposition fee at lease end. 1.9 for 48 equals $21.65 per 1,000 budget. With approved credit for KMF. Residency restrictions may apply. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for details. N6225.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
When it's time to fire up the grill, Meijer is ready to help bring the char-grilled good life to your backyard with prime cuts of certified Angus beef, wholesome all-natural chicken breast, tenders, wings, and thighs, hand-selected to ensure quality and taste, lean ground beef prepared fresh daily, and even a wide selection of organic options, including chicken, beef, and sausage, all at sizzling low prices to help you bring home more of what you love in every trip. We're working hard to make the grilling life a good deal better at Meijer.
Have you ever wanted your tropical vacation to last longer? Of course you have. And now it can thanks to Oakland Nursery. Bring that tropical paradise to your backyard. Create an island retreat complete with tropical hibiscus, palm trees, mandevilla, gardenias, citrus, and banana plants, flowering cannas, and more. The lush exotic greens and vibrant tropical colors that make life more fun now in your own backyard thanks to Oakland. If you haven't been to Oakland Nursery, you simply haven't been to a nursery.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
All right, so I think this is the third time in the program. I lied. You can find Reds Cubs right here on the Fan with coverage starting at 3:40. So when myself and Tim May bow out here in a couple of minutes, we'll send you to ESPN programming. Then that'll take you up to 3:40 of coverage between the Reds and the Cubs. First pitch from Ohio's Queen City is set for 4:10. Redlegs looking to halt A couple games slide that they've been on after last weekend. They swept the Cleveland Guardians. And I also think I lied twice in that because I told you that was going to be on ESPN Columbus. It's not. It's on The Fan. And I also said that was the last time I was going to talk baseball in the first segment. And I talked baseball in the first segment of the third hour. And now I'm doing more baseball.
That's okay, man.
I apologize for nothing.
That's okay. You're throwing strikes.
I wanted to also ask you about Eli Brickhandler.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous name. Mm-hmm. Fourth quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They procured him from the transfer portal earlier this week. What would the purpose for Ryan Day to bring in a guy like Eli Brickhandler?
Remember when they went out and got Tristan Gebbia?
I do.
Several years ago? This smacks of that, you know, because even at, what's the name of the school? Houston Christian. FCS program. Yeah. You know, stats didn't blow you away. I mean, you know, bottom line, and before that, North Carolina A&T. And before that, I think he was in a prep school in North Carolina, in Raleigh. And then was from high school, was in California before that. But he just seems like a pretty sharp guy. I haven't gotten to talk to him. I'm not sure how many people actually have.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten to talk to him. He seems like a pretty sharp guy. But main thing is he's a guy who has played. Because, man, you look at this Ohio State quarterback room and who's played.
Not a lot of starts.
Correct. And so, if anything, you bring in a journeyman veteran who's been around. He can bring some I don't know, quiet. That's not the word.
Settle the room.
Settle the room a little bit, maybe. But then also in a pinch, he can play because he's played before.
Right.
So that's what this looks like to me, because this should not be equated in any form or fashion to them getting Will Howard a year ago. That turns out to be a coup. A lot of people, some people even questioned that one a little bit, only because as many great moments as Will Howard had at Kansas State, he also had some moments, you know, where you scratched your head, and he never looked like Dan Marino, you know, at Kansas State. I thought he looked a little bit like him at the end of the year last year, but he brought leadership, you know, just maturity is the main thing he brought, and wasn't afraid to step up and speak, and even to us in the media. I mean, he was a media's delight.
Right away, he came in, and everybody fell in love with him.
I mean, and he didn't, you know, maybe he was giving us a lot of pablum, but it was not in your regular, you know, I call it your regular professional hockey player kind of way of doing it. You know, he was entertaining. He would think through questions and answer them the best he could. I mean, he was great fun to be around in that respect. I got a sense Eli Brickhandler is going to be the same guy in some respects off the field. And then, of course, maybe, because remember last year they were giving out the bricks to help build a foundation for the team. Maybe they brought him in for the double entendre there.
It works pretty well if you're still going off of the.
Are they going to use that analogy this year?
Because I do feel like that's coming. Because they've lost so much, they've got to build a new foundation.
Brick handler.
Here comes Eli.
Why not get a guy who's named Brickhandler?
I mean, it only makes the most sense in the world. Tim, I'm not.
Hey, if you were a pro basketball player and your name was Brickhandler, would you change it?
Nope, I'd lean into it.
You would? Okay.
I would try to be like a Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And just try to make as many shots from ridiculous spots on the court as possible, because if you don't make those shots, then it's funny.
Yes.
But if you're able to make shots like that.
You're a hero with a funny name.
With a great last name. Speaking of Steph Curry, he's going to be in town this week. He's doing the Memorial Pro-Am. Peyton Manning's coming on as well. Larry Fitzgerald.
All three of those guys can play, man.
They're good golfers.
Oh, yeah.
That's always the Wednesday before the actual tournament starts on Thursday. Like, we're already into Memorial Tournament week.
Yeah.
Like, it's next weekend. Are you going to go next Saturday at all?
I haven't been to the Memorial in a long time. Okay, I used to help cover it back in the late 70s, early 80s with Bob Baptist and stuff. Bob Baptist was our golf writer and stuff. But I've only helped cover it a couple of times since then, because once I started covering the Indianapolis 500, it was on the same weekend. For a long time, and then it broke off of that. You know, the Memorial did. But no, I'd much rather probably watch that one at home in case it rains. Number one. Number two, I'm a volunteer again this year at the U.S. Open for the fourth straight year, and I've definitely enjoyed walking those courses and plan on walking the hell out of Oakmont.
So Dane Sanzenbacher and I are going to be doing the sports spectacular from outside the Champions Pavilion. And how dare you put that into the atmosphere that it could rain? There is rain in the forecast next weekend, but that's for next weekend. So we know how things can change. It looks like another wet week in Columbus.
It's been the
theme of the spring.
The curse that has followed the Memorial Tournament since it started. I remember helping cover that day when it was like 42 degrees or something, and the wind was blowing, it was raining, and they still played. This like late 70s, early 80s. I go, this is nuts, man. They're still playing golf, and they're playing pretty well.
Best in the world tend to do that in those kinds of conditions.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday, first round for that. But what I did want to get to are your picks for racing events this weekend, the Indianapolis 500. Let's start there.
Yeah.
12:45 tomorrow, the green flag will wave in Indianapolis. Who's chugging milk at the finish line?
Well, the Penske cars were still three of the better cars.
Newgarden had the fastest car yesterday despite being in the second-to-last spot.
Correct. They still have very fast race cars. Forget about qualifying. Very fast race cars. And the guy you got your eye on, because he kind of did it to himself last year a little bit, but kind of got caught behind the eight ball, is Scott McLaughlin, who's starting up, in 10th or 11th position, 12th position. 10th now that the other two guys have gone to the back. But I like Scott McLaughlin just because I like his car. Takuma Sato is sitting right there championing at the bit to be a 3-time winner. He's starting in the middle of the front row. And then the guy right next to him, Pato O'Ward, got tremendous hits on my video of him last year after the race when he coulda, shoulda, but didn't win the Indianapolis 500, and Joseph Newgarden won it for the second straight time. I think he's got the car and the team to get it done. Robert Schwartzman, they had problems in carburation day, as they still call it.
Real quick, Friday. What's carburation day?
That's what my wife always says. When are they having windshield wiper day? Because they don't even have carburetors anymore. It's all fuel injected. But it's basically their last practice.
Okay.
And it's a huge party, man. That's as much fun to go to, I think, as almost a race. Big time acts down in the amphitheater, down in the northeast corner of the track, and they have stuff all day on Sunday too at that amphitheater. Who did I name? I named Scott McLaughlin, Takuma Sato, Pato O'Ward, and then Joseph Newgarden coming through the field. I could see it happening.
30-second spot on this thing?
I told Graham Rahal, you just need to latch on to either Joseph Newgarden or Will Power as they climb through the field, because Graham Rahal starting 28th.
He's 28th in the pack.
Right in front of him. Just latch on to one of those guys and weave through the field and get up to the front. If you just want to be in shouting distance with 50 laps to go.
And that's the most,
then you've got a shot.
The whole thing's exciting, but the most exciting time is when it is coming down to the wire, because I think you put it correctly. You don't want to run your horse into the wall for the entire race.
No.
I'm going to give it to Marcus Armstrong, not only because he's part of Meyer Shank Racing, and we had Mike Shank on earlier today with us, but also his car has got Creed on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be seeing Creed on July 20th at Nationwide Arena.
That makes as much sense as anything else. Felix Rosenquist is really good.
Enjoy your weekend.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Forever starts with the perfect diamond. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from The Diamond Seller, and for over 78 years, our family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Seller, bigger diamonds and better prices are our promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts. Because diamonds, they're our forte. Visit us at Diamond Seller on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Are you a skilled hardscape worker looking for better pay, steady work, and a crew that has your back? Join 9 Trees Landscape Construction, Central Ohio's top patio and retaining wall builder for outdoor living spaces. We value craftsmanship, dependability, and hustle, and pay you accordingly. We are hiring experienced or ready to learn, full-time, no weekends, top pay and benefits. Call 614-921-9595 or visit 9treeslc.com. 9 Trees, where hard work builds more than just great patios.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Summer is officially here, and that means rising temperatures. You're going to be thinking about how you can keep cool all summer long. What's the best plan here? Well, one of the ways you can beat the heat and keep the air conditioning you're paying for in your home is to get Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. And now's a great time to do it. They've got a semi-annual sale where you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows for free. Plus a free entry door when you purchase a whole house full of windows. No money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. It's a deal that can't be beat. You're getting a great deal from Window Nation because they are high-efficiency windows that are also very affordable. They do that by working directly with the top window manufacturers in the country, which means all their windows are assembled right here in the USA. But don't wait on that semi-annual sale. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free. Free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, plus pay nothing until 2027. You've got to schedule your estimate today. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Once again, that number, 866-90-NATION or windownation.